here you go. Are you recording me?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I thought I'd try and catch the tail end of that.
Why'd you leave the beer up on the table?
You wanted to. What?
What?
I wanted to.
Yeah, because you wanted to.
'cause
Because I felt like it.
Mom!
Welcome back. Yes.
Hi,
to
everybody.
another episode of the Three Dudes podcast. The Dude Cast.
As it were.
As it is, I would argue. And will be. It is our 37th episode.
Yep.
6th of season 2. You already know that.
Yep.
Why am I telling
I
you?
don't know. Getting closer to the 1 fucking year mark.
That's right.
How
We're coming up on.
insane is that?
Wow. We're only maybe 2 months, not like a month and a half.
A month and a
away.
half. We're about a month and a half away.
Yeah, from having
it's
done
insane.
this for a whole year.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It is pretty ridiculous.
What are we
crazy.
doing with our lives?
Remembering it.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This podcast exists as a monument to how fat and stupid we were in our 20s.
Yep.
You know,
going forward.
The common criticism of Internet 2.0,
Yeah,
as I call it, because I'm old enough to remember Internet 1.0.
sure.
Is that, you know, well, a record exists of everything you do, and to that I think we say good.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Good. Amen.
You know, I at least I can go back and objectively look at it instead of like everything else in my past, where I just have to wonder if I was a fucking idiot.
I just remember my mom telling me years ago, like, be careful what you put on the internet in case, you know,
Yeah.
you get hot, you know, because companies will check that. And the older I get, the more I realize, you know, there's no company that I'm ever going to apply for that's going to give a shit.
Yeah, right.
So I'm never going to be that person. So
Yeah. in that interest, I was talking to Dave before you came over. I've been looking for work in other fields,
Yeah.
specifically IT. So in the interests of presenting the best image, I've put my Facebook on friends only,
Yeah.
past and present
you
posts.
friend zoned it.
You put it in the friend zone.
Yeah, my Facebook is now the friend zone. It contains only friends. And I purged like a shitload of my friends list. Like my clients from work aren't on there anymore.
Yeah.
Which I was always careful to censor my posts and not, put anything objectionable as my Facebook gets. It's not very edgy or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But, if I want to drop the occasional fuck word, then
Yeah, you got to watch those fuck words.
right.
The fuck words and the damn words and the piss words.
Yeah.
I pride myself on not cussing in front of my clients, no matter how much they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you go out looking for like a job, like all this different kind of, you think about stuff like this.
Yeah.
You consider the impression that you make out there in the world.
Sure.
But I think it's gonna be fine. I really do. And I really don't think most employers really care that much about your personal life, your personal opinions. I don't think they look that closely, or at least I wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't, but like we're talking about management. Management is almost like a different species.
They kind of are too.
And they change. You get changed when you become a member of management.
Oh, really?
Change.
You change into they pull out part of your brain and they replace it with a big chip.
I remember that episode of The Office where they're having the wedding reception, and Jim is trying very, very hard not to like telling everyone, don't tell anyone that Pam is pregnant because her grandma isn't going to take it well. And then he ends up being the one that reveals that, and he's confiding in Michael. Does management just make you blurt stupid things out all the time? Like,
my favorite part of that episode is where obviously Grandma Mima has become very distressed. And Michael's trying to talk her down and says, they're going to name the baby after you. They're going to name her Mima.
I love
good joke.
I love that scene too, because like it's obvious he was like getting through to her, like just like in his endearing, simple kind of way,
Yeah, Michael just has a way with people on that show.
He has a way with kids, and that's what's like the biggest tragedy of Michael Scott is like,
yeah, right.
Like he would be like the funniest dad ever.
Yeah,
he's so good with kids consistently throughout the series.
Yeah,
and like he doesn't have have any of his own. It's really sad.
Yeah, exactly. It's his character is tragic in a lot of ways, but I think that's part of why he's so endearing. Why people follow along with him, why he can get away with murder.
He's not a he's not
Away with murder.
he's not a bad person. He's naive.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, moving on here.
Yes.
This week, as I'm sure you guys can agree, we are fucked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are fucked so big.
6 ways till Sunday.
We are fucked so bad. But I will move this along. Oh, I'm doing a little eeny meeny. I have no idea. Chris, tell us why we're fucked.
Okay, so I gotta start by saying that I am particularly not fucked this week.
Ooh.
This is only only the second time in the whole series that I haven't been fucked.
Right.
And let me tell you why.
You're typically fucked.
I'm typically fucked. Usually,
frequently
fucked. If I'm like, I don't feel fucked, I'll remember something that happened earlier in the week.
Yeah.
I'm not fucked because on my phone, I downloaded one of my favorite games ever. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
On your phone?
I paid $5 goddamn dollars for it. It's the whole fucking game. I can play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on my phone.
Fuck out of here!
I'm not kidding.
Is that like in the Play Store? Is that just out there?
Yeah, dude. Listen, you hear it? Yeah. That's it.
Oh my!
It's the fucking
God.
wait. Like, hold on, I'll show you guys.
I can't believe you can get KOTOR on your phone.
Look at this. Hold on. Well, it's loading.
That sure as fuck is the loading screen.
It's like it's not like some shitty cheap like it's touch coded.
But how do you play it with the weird screen thumb thing? That never works for me.
Well, see, the thing about KOTOR is it's an action RPG insofar as like it's actiony. There's a lot of laser blasts and shit like that. At its core, the gameplay is turn based.
Right.
It's essentially
when it comes to combat.
It's essentially a D20 module given video game form.
But the movement you just swipe forward and it'll move your character and then you can turn with the screen. It's cool. And it's also not going to load because there's not really good reception down here and it's trying to load my.
You got to get on my Wi-Fi.
My Wi-Fi.
My Wi-Fi.
But I'll show it to you guys later for the sake of brevity. So I'm feeling particularly not fucked because technology is really cool.
That's
and
sick.
A game that I used to have to spend $400 on a console for that ran at maybe, I don't know, 25 frames per second on my Xbox. Is running at a crisp 60 FPS on my OLED display.
That's insane.
It's really cool. And it's the full fucking game, man.
Yeah.
I beat that game not too long ago. And just the I mean, I can remember when it came out and I was like, oh my God, everything's so
great.
detailed.
Yeah.
But then 10 minutes in and I'm seeing the same kind of facial animations again, that double nod that happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
You can always, it's like watching the DVD logo bounce directly off the corner, you're just waiting for it to happen. And when it does, you're like,
My favorite is the same 3 lines of alien dialogue for each. Runga di hadunga. Uana kumbesa.
Chingbaramure.
Yeah, right, exactly. This is the same couple lines of dialogue.
I've played this game like 5
I
times.
know,
I
me too.
know these.
You guys have played this game too much.
These alien words.
Muchashakapaga.
It kind of reminds me of The Sims, where you just get some of those little phrases in
Yeah,
your
you
head.
pick them up. Yeah, but I'm not fucked. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this qualifies as a fucked. I'm going to tell you guys the story
About to go to this story you were going to tell us?
that I was teasing for you.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
So, that's it. We all know that joke, right? All right, that was something that came about from the
Yes.
which we talked about on air.
Wait, what joke?
That's it.
That's it.
That's right.
It's
That's it.
Sorry, I'm
That's all right. You missed the visual. That's all.
the little head cock. Yeah. So that came from the trip that. Oh god. That came from
Good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You gotta train your burps there. You gotta,
Yeah,
they have to be part of the sentence.
Morty.
They gotta be as natural as a or a like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a fuck my asshole.
As casually as you say
casual,
that.
like
Right.
But no, that came about from the trip that we took to Connecticut. Me and Tyler and my boss for a training seminar in Connecticut, in sunny Connecticut.
Yeah.
In the casino. And the joke. Well, I don't know if I ever explained that on air.
I think you did.
I might have at the time.
I'm pretty sure you explained it, but give us a recap for people who don't know what
So we were there, and we were just with a bunch of other teams from other stores. on this side of the country. You know what I mean? So there were a lot of like Boston, New England, Vermont, Iowa. We were like kind of in that sect,
the northeast,
the nor'easter.
But there was this one guy there from the store who was this weird, doofy looking, short, round guy, older. And he was Danny
DeVito?
He was weird and grumpy, and he made everybody uncomfortable.
Danny DeVito.
He's a bridge troll.
Kind of. I'll show you.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. But like the story was like we got paired off. The first training class we were in was one for Samsung.
Yeah.
And we got paired off in pairs between like
You don't say.
You didn't pair off in triples?
No. We got paired off with people from other stores, and the exercise was like, all right, they put me in front of a washer. It was like, all right, meet this guy from Massachusetts, and then introduce each other. And then talk about what you know about the product, and then introduce yourselves to the rest of the group. So my boss got paired up with this weird guy.
Yeah.
And they got paired up in front of it was like a dishwasher or something. And they exchanged the what have yous. And my boss starts listing off all the standard shit that we rattle off to people when they're asking about this particular one.
Yeah.
He's like, it's got a stainless steel tub, nylon racks, 40 decibels, so it's quiet, it's so and so. And he rambles off all the stuff that anybody needs to know about it.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at him and goes, "That's it?" like implying like that's all you got,
like that's all you can tell me about this.
And
that's it.
My boss was like, "Yeah, that's it." And then he proceeds to go in depth about how this motor is manufactured with like inferior steel, so it's not good. Like he went way too far down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Super deep dive.
And he just like but that's where "that's it" comes from. Like it was just so weird. I'm trying to remember some of the funnier shit he said. Like when he introduced, after they did that thing, he introduced my boss to the rest of the group, and he's like, my boss's name is Ben.
Yeah.
It is. When my boss introduced himself, he said, "My name's Ben. I'm from the Boardman store in Ohio." And he's like, "This is Benjamin Boardman." And he's like, and my boss gave me this weird, like, yeah, but that's what he, this grumpy little old,
The Curious Case of Benjamin Boardman.
this goofy little bridge troll kind of guy. He asked the Samsung trainer, because there was a steam oven, like you could steam bake in it. I don't know if you guys know what steam baking is, but
just like steaming?
No, like okay, you ever get the big crusty Italian bread from Sparkle, like the real thick crusty loaf? That's steam baked. They put a pan of water underneath it.
Yeah.
Makes the inside really soft and doughy, and makes the outside crunchy. That's steam baking.
Sure.
So this guy raises his hand and he's like, "Yeah, I have to ask because I know my customers are going to ask me, can you put wood chips in that?"
What?
In an oven, right? Okay. So
it's not a barbecue, you fat idiot.
Right, exactly. She's like, "Can you put wood chips in that?" And she's like, "You mean like wood chips?" He's like, "Yeah, wood, like for smoking." Like he meant like put it in the water dish.
Oh.
And she goes, she to her credit,
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, but in an oven, you want to lock, right? You want to lock smoke in your oven.
Yeah, but also if you put wood chips in a water pan, you're not going to smoke them.
You're going to steam
steam the wood too.
Right, exactly.
You're not going to get charred.
Yeah, because
anything.
It's going to be crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside.
I think what he meant was like you get the chips wet and then put it in the drawer and then let it smoke in your oven, and then you have to open your oven and let smoke into your kitchen.
How else do you know it's cooked?
But and to her credit, the trainer's credit, she's like she took it, she deadpanned him. She's like, "I wouldn't." I wouldn't.
In my experience, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
But
not good.
We spent like a very long, creepy couple days with this guy, and then we went back we came home for 12 hours. This is how weird this company is. We went home for 12 hours. And then I had to leave on another flight and go to a different part of Connecticut.
Okay.
At the same airport, and then get driven to a different part of the state.
Yeah.
And he was also at that next training too, and that one was just me and my boss. And the guy, we had already spent 4 really strange days with this weird guy.
Sure.
And we were coming down for dinner our second day there, and I remember I was waiting out front for Ben, and he came out and he lit a smoke and he's like, man, that dude, he's just sitting there in the lobby of the hotel. He looks really lonely. I kind of want to ask him out to dinner. And I kind of gave him this half-cocked like look, and he's like, come on, man, it's the right thing to do. We should really invite him out for dinner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, do what you got to do. And he went back in and invited him, and we proceeded to have the most uncomfortable dinner.
You didn't tell me about the dinner.
I didn't tell you about the dinner. We went to Ruby Tuesdays. We had to walk up there because the guy who was supposed to drive us up there was taking too long. So we just walked up the road to Ruby Tuesdays. We had this and my boss, like incidentally asked him, thinking like he'd be like, "Oh no, it's okay," you know. But he was like, "Oh yeah, sure." You know, he just like jumped right up, and he's like, "Oh fuck, okay," you know what I mean? So we had.
Hey, shooter, want to go to Sizzler?
Yeah,
my treat.
My treat. But he just, you know, you ever been in a conversation with somebody and they revealed way too much information?
Oh yeah, I've been that person.
Yeah,
in fact,
way too early.
Yeah.
So this guy starts talking to us about where he came from in his life. He starts telling us that like he's married.
Yeah.
And that comes into the story later.
Okay.
He's married. And he starts talking about, you know, we're like, oh, well, how'd you get your start in Best Buy? He's like, well, I used to work in an appliance store. It was my dad's. Until he cut me out of his will and sold the company. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. And he just starts telling us like all this stuff about like.
That sounds uncomfortable.
And it was very uncomfortable. At one point, Ben went into the bathroom, but he texted me from the bathroom. He's like, "I am so sorry." He's like, "It's okay. It's okay." You know.
Yeah.
But but he starts telling us like all this stuff. Like his dad disowned him and cut him out of the will, so he didn't get to inherit his father's company.
oh my god.
He took the job at Best Buy kind of out of necessity because he needed the other. He worked. This guy, and again, this is going to come in handy. This guy I found this out recently. This guy worked at IBM and then lost his job. So he took this job at Best Buy just as like a.
Oh my god.
But he just starts explaining like, nobody at his store wants to talk to him, and nobody wants to. He just got real in depth here. Like,
oh my god,
which is why nobody from his store invited him out for dinner. He just kind of was stuck there in the hotel
my god.
lobby.
I feel a little bad for the guy, but I feel like it's
right.
You know, I don't know.
So, but that's where that comes from. Is that that guy, right? So, the other day.
Oh boy. Here we fucking
just
go.
out of morbid curiosity.
Is this the story you've alluded to through text? Okay. I'm ready.
We Googled his name.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find him. We'd been looking for him before. We wanted to make a meme with his face that said, "That's it." That's it. So we Googled his name, and we stumbled across his Twitter page.
Oh boy.
Oh
boy.
Heavens.
So here's the first photo on his Twitter page. I'm not going to say his name because this isn't a real person. So that's the first photo on his Twitter page. It's a family dinner. We checked through his friends list. He's got all his family on there. He's also got like 1,200 followers, which is odd for somebody who you know what I mean.
That is odd. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, and then like the farther you scroll down, you figure he's just kind of like what you'd expect, right? He flips old toys. He sells them on eBay, which is probably a big part of the reason why he has so much, so many followers.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But then you go a little farther and you find this.
What?
No. Whoa.
Okay.
I didn't get to finish reading. I'm sorry.
So for those of you at home,
Holy shit.
we gotta provide a.
I'm sorry for all the dead air and gawking.
Yeah. So for those of you at home, this guy has all these posts that are like, "Oh, I've got this old model train set selling it for $500," and he's got tweets with his family tagged in him, so they're friends with him on Twitter. And then you scroll down; it gets worse the farther you scroll down. You scroll down,
it gets worse,
and then the first tweet you see is a woman with a leather ball gag strapped across her face, and she's obviously like struggling, like you know what I mean, like struggling to breathe. Like it's an advertisement.
Sure, it's
and the tweet. I'm gonna read it in his voice. The tweet says, "I like the ball gag. Too bad you didn't have another size up to stretch her mouth open wider."
Why?
Oh my fucking god!
This is the it's from a place called the House of Gourd.
Okay, Hold on now. Hold on just a moment.
There's another one. Here's a redheaded boy next to a dominatrix.
Wait,
Sure.
this is what's throwing me about this. I'm trying to envision how this happened. I'm trying to envision, and all I can picture is, so maybe he posted somewhere on the internet in a place where, like with the Facebook plugin, where you are not sure if you're posting on a page or where it's going.
Sure.
Maybe it accidentally ended up on his main.
I was thinking that, but there's stuff that goes back years. Like I'm talking years. It's lots of toys. It's lots of years me with my family, and then it's like, oh, where in the world, mistress, did you ever find that white-skinned submissive? And it's like, and it's,
Maybe it's like weirdly not sexual for him.
Maybe.
It's just like.
and then there's stuff like join me writing your members of Congress to oppose harmful tax legislation.
Thanksgiving with Aunt Judy. Hey, where'd you find that submissive? It gives me a huge erection. Oh, look, Christmas.
I'm sorry for spilling the gravy. Please don't spank me too hard.
It's so like, okay, that was enough to send me down the rabbit hole. All right. So, and I'm sorry this story is running long, but
No, this needs talked about big time.
I went way down the rabbit hole here. All right.
Sure.
Like I went like maddeningly down the rabbit hole.
How many years would you estimate you went back in tweets?
Not just in tweets. I went back to 2013, but I went down the rabbit hole because now I'm thinking like, who is this? Who the fuck is this guy? Right?
So you start Googling elsewhere.
So I start
Used toy and S&M mogul.
right. So
He might be Roger Sickbastard.
So right, exactly.
He might be Roger Sickbastard.
So now,
Mother slave Barbie. The Roger Sickbastard product.
Guys, I think we found Roger Sickbastard. Please continue. So,
I keep going down the rabbit hole, and there's when you start searching for people on the internet, a lot of it is like that fake ad bullshit where they, you know what I mean?
Reconnect with such and such.
Right,
today.
you know what I mean? But you can find a pretty good amount of information without paying.
right.
The first thing I did was check the sex offender registry. The state that this guy's in,
Yeah.
I could not find him on the registry.
Good.
Okay.
He's not on Family Watchdog, at least not under that name.
So-
I have reason to believe that that was my first concern. Is like, all right, this is
Like, who the fuck is
like,
this
and
guy?
like again, let me just say, there's nothing wrong with having your kinks. It's just a little odd that you would like post that up on the same page where you're selling stuff to your customers
And
your
sharing
family.
photos of your family.
Yeah. We're not
it's
like-
just a little
we're not,
weird.
like, kink shaming
No,
here.
whatever. Hey, man, whatever you're into. But
Yeah.
like, it's just odd that you wouldn't keep family and business.
it's such a collision.
Horniness separated. It's so weird.
Nobody else does that.
Right, it's very weird. So
Yeah.
I did a little digging, and like I said, you can find a surprising amount of information about somebody just by looking up their name and knowing generally where they're at in the world.
Sure.
From a couple credible sources, I was able to deduce that this guy is still married. He didn't lie about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I know this family's names. I found like direct descendants, and I went like I said, I went fucking crazy down the rabbit hole.
This is insane.
My biggest thing was like,
you sound a little bit crazy right now.
I know. Believe me, I'm aware of that. All
but
right.
I understand this completely.
So, my big thing is I want to know I didn't have dinner with a pedophile. I just don't want that on my conscience.
yeah, right.
Sure.
Right. So what I did find out, two strange things. One, he has 2 arrests on his record recently. I don't know what they're for.
Okay.
And I can't find out without filing a Freedom of Information Act request.
What you're gonna do, right?
No, that costs money.
I don't want to go that far down the rabbit hole.
I will donate to this.
Oh my god! So I have to again. I'm not going to say anything else, but I'm not. But like to go any farther, I'd have to file a Freedom of Information Act request,
Right.
at the state that he's in,
Right.
And I have to do that. You have to tell them why,
Right.
And there's a lot of hoops you have to go through, and I don't want to just be like, I just want to make sure I didn't have dinner with a sex offender. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You have
I don't
to
want
prove a reason.
because they're going to be like, okay, like I have to have a good reason to file for it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do that. But
Has
I
to be
know
in the public interest.
I know that he's got 2 arrests, and they're recent.
Okay.
One was in 2015. One was in 2013.
Man.
Yeah,
Recent.
recent.
I mean,
like-
depending on how you define recent.
Like this guy was in his 50s when you know what I mean.
Right.
So I don't know what they're for. Even more crazy than that, I found out that this guy had a family member who was appointed by President Obama for the D.C. courthouse.
Shut up.
What?
Okay, we're getting dangerously close to doxing.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Let me just not.
I don't want to get too specific.
Well, today I learned that the president appoints people to the D.C. courthouse.
Well, there's different jobs and positions, and some of those are probably.
Sure.
So I don't want to say the exact position,
right?
But it was in D.C. and he was appointed. He was appointed by President Obama. Mm-hmm. This is his cousin. Has a Wikipedia page.
My goodness.
And a startling likeness, which is, but that's his cousin.
Okay.
So that's about as far down the rabbit hole as I went.
I love.
There is more there to dig up, but I don't want to.
Is it really doxing if all of it's public record?
I mean, it is sort of.
Kind of. It's why I don't want to go. That's why I don't want to get into any super specifics. I just want to say that this is. I'm not fucked, but it's really weird, and I went a little crazy.
Yeah.
Going.
Sure.
I recognize that this sounds very strange that I went that far, but
This guy though is like he's in the pantheon of weirdos you've ever met.
Yes.
So that's why you had to follow
He
it.
begs. He's the white rabbit. You gotta chase him.
you got to chase him, and I just had to see.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm going to go any farther than that, but I set out to find out if I had dinner with a sex weirdo.
Right.
Sure.
I'll give you a little mini story on the same, because this is why I recognize this impulse. Is a couple years ago, there was someone that used to work in my company, doesn't work there anymore, and someone was just Googling his name for some reason. I can't remember why. And they came across his Pinterest, which, to all of our surprise, was full of high heels and like comments like, "I fuck for shoes."
Oh,
And we're all like,
hey man,
wow.
All right.
Very surprised. Not shaming him, but just like, that's not what I expected.
right? Exactly.
Because
and that's the
people
thing.
don't generally make their kinks public knowledge.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and
Like,
like
just-
half of that Twitter page is exactly what I expected. Just a dude selling toys. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like
Right.
that, I just don't know. I don't know if this makes me sound like a bad person because I went so crazy. But like I wasn't. I did it out of a place purely for my own. I just needed to know if I.
I mean, you're not the one who posting fucking bondage stuff to his Twitter
Correct.
page.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Public Twitter page.
And like, not to say that like putting bondage stuff up on your social media account makes you a sex weirdo.
Right.
it's
but
all the other stuff. It's the combination.
It's the combination of everything else.
Yeah.
Like,
the
you know what I
toy
mean?
business with the stuff that feels like it's geared towards kids,
Yeah.
and then like the family oriented stuff, and then like out of nowhere, all
Right.
this like bondage shit.
That was what threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it's not really a why I'm fucked. It's just really weird. Like really weird.
but I have to ask you, that's right?
That's it. Yeah, that's the thing. That was this is why I know I'm in love with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was showing her this page. Like we were having dinner. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I just have to dig down the rabbit hole. And I was like showing her. I'm like, look, this is the dude, and this is
Yeah.
And she like looked up and she went, "That's it."
I knew it.
That was the best. That's it yet. That was really good.
Trish is a good one.
So yeah, not fucked, but weirded out a little bit.
Well, shit, Ben. Why are we fucked?
Sorry.
We're fucked because my phone sucks.
Oh.
To go into more detail, I suppose I should elaborate on this a bit. Every so often, it's becoming more and more frequent. I feel as time goes on.
Yeah.
My phone says it's running out of space.
Yes.
So I go into the app manager and I'm like, okay, well, transfer these apps to the SD card. Some of them don't let me.
Yep.
Right. I've noticed this.
I can leave my phone completely alone, use my apps as normal, and then all of a sudden it'll come up saying your storage space is low.
Right.
I've got 10 gigs free on my SD card.
Right.
I think the only reasonable explanation for this is that my phone is goddamn lying to me.
Well, there are some apps, like I think actually maybe a lot of or all apps, I can't remember, but like some things can be on your SD and some can't.
But here's the question: why?
Right.
Because I had that same fucking problem. It's so annoying.
And the reason why is this. Planned obsolescence is why we're fucked.
Well, that's something to think about. I mean, I wonder if there's limitations to the SD bus, like the transfer between the SD to your microprocessor.
I'll have to do some digging, but I've seen some very compelling evidence that planned obsolescence
for sure
is absolutely a real thing.
Apple's a perfect example of that because we know for a fact that they did that.
It's
you know what I mean?
It is maybe the biggest global scam beyond just like capitalism, period. Sure. The biggest global scam going on right now is planned obsolescence. Yeah. Cell phones are an absolute fucking scam.
Yeah,
it's the truth. Yeah,
it should be like you have to take out like fucking leases on these things, like a car or a house.
This phone was I got it on sale. This phone was still just under $1,000. I just bought it.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, you remember we built a computer together.
Yeah.
Probably 5 to 10 times more powerful than one of these phones.
Yeah, probably.
And you're Americans.
For under $800.
Yeah.
And yet, some of these phones end up, again, costing you just shy of $1,000. Well, that's absolutely fucking ludicrous.
Size is one thing. Machining things that small and powerful does have its cost.
Sure.
But I think what's really happening here is that we've hit the diminishing returns crest, right? So think back to like when you were younger and literally every 2 years, computers were twice as powerful and you couldn't play the new games because your computer was 2 years old, right?
But we're going through the same thing with phones now, but the difference is in the modern world you need a phone. You've got to be able to to get a new one is
a huge pain in the ass.
Arm and a fucking leg.
Right.
It's an absolute scam.
Here's where I'm going with this though, is that they've stopped generation to generation actually becoming that more powerful than their predecessors. Right, like the actual increase,
which is why planned obsolescence is a thing.
They're adjusting for the fact that they can no longer compel you on specs alone, to buy a new thing because they depend on you buying one,
right? So they
every
just
couple of years.
Make the fucking thing stop working after a couple of years. Yeah. It's criminal.
What kind of phone do you have? Incidentally, it's Samsung, right?
LG. This is an LG G Vista.
Okay.
Apart from the storage thing, I will say this: this is an LG G Vista. This is a very good phone. It's responsive. It's smooth.
Yeah.
It does everything I want it to.
Except
it makes up storage space issues like the fucking asshole it is.
So let's go further here because a bigger problem is that you get bloatware on just like whereas on a computer when it comes with bloatware when you buy a laptop you can uninstall the bloatware. You can't uninstall bloatware on this without jailbreaking it.
Yeah, and I'm
usually your carrier.
Right.
Usually your carrier makes you put stuff on there like I'm never going to get the NFL network.
Samsung
so
too.
Why do I have to have that?
Samsung too, Apple too.
Yeah, I want to try to do it with this. I tried going in manually and deleting whatever gunk I could find because phones, as with any computer, will accumulate gunk files over time.
Sure.
And just it takes up space that isn't being utilized.
I will tell you, it's even worse at the really low end of the phone market.
Sure.
I have family members who regularly buy every year, dependably, the cheapest Android smart talk phone that they can find, and by the time they're done setting it up, they can't use it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And what's creeping in now too is Huawei, those Chinese phones.
Yeah.
And a couple of my clients have them. I've seen them. I've used them. They're just
junk.
They're garbage.
So like the thing that a lot of these like Samsung iPhone I think was the first one to do it, where you do away with the SD card and then everything runs off of your data.
Yeah.
But even that, like this has 64 gigs. That's the high end for the Note 8. Like
64 gigs internal.
So there's gonna come a time when I'm gonna fill that up. it's
I
gonna
bought
happen.
the Pixel with the 128 gig.
Yeah.
Because I knew this is a problem.
Yeah.
And I do think there's probably some technical limitations as to why you can't run everything off your SD card.
We're actually hitting the higher end. This is a problem with desktop hardware as well, actually. We're hitting the higher end of what can be accomplished with miniaturizing this sort of technology. But even so, the fact that planned obsolescence is a thing, so that you gotta buy the newest model is criminal. It should be criminal.
Yeah.
And we know it. We know it's happening. You know what I mean? Like we know that companies are doing that.
Apple's the example. They claimed to have deliberately clocked down processor speeds to account for battery considerations over the lifetime of a lithium-ion battery, and I think even temperature constraints as a result of that.
Here's the thing.
It's all bullshit.
It's bullshit because a lithium-ion battery is one of those things that's going to last you 6 months or 65 years, depending on what you're doing with it.
Right.
Like
there's some things you can control for. If you regularly fully charge and fully deplete a battery, it lives longer.
Right.
You keep it out of excess temperature extremes, it does better.
Right.
But there's still variance in there. Manufacturing quality being a thing.
Right.
I mean, it's not a guaranteed lifespan.
Lithium, especially. It's if you do stuff the way you're supposed to, there's a good chance you're going to have a good lifespan on your phone.
Right.
But it is absolutely a thing. As far as like transfer rate goes over, unless it's something with a limitation in the phone, the SD cards are built to handle speed. Like a micro SD
they're
card
connected directly to the motherboard.
Well, and
it's not like
a micro SD card that you buy now for a phone is regularly going to run at 80 megs. Like it's going to run fast.
Yeah.
So transfer rate is not the issue unless it's a processor issue.
Well, there are some. I think there's some physical concerns too. Just the fact that you only have so many send and I think you have a send and a receive line on a SD bus. I'm not sure.
Really?
But there's not even that much data to begin with. You're essentially loading glorified HTML pages. It's not like you're demanding a lot from an app whenever you ask it to transfer something across an SD card into your phone.
How old is that phone?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I got this like 2.5 years ago.
That's the line they're shooting for, and that's why those leases that's why they run at 30 months as a standard.
Yeah.
Is that
they have a target for you to replace them?
It's a fucking scam.
They don't intend for you to keep them.
Exactly.
These things are an absolute goddamn scam, and like it's weird. Like the older I get, like I always thought it was strange growing up that my dad owned a typewriter and had it in his office.
It works.
And now the older I get, the more I understand.
Well, reliable.
Yeah.
That's why vinyl and audio equipment are so fascinating to me, because you can make an investment in audio that will last you your whole life.
Yeah.
It will literally last forever if you put the money into it. And it'll always sound exactly the same. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's something to be said about stuff being built the way it used to. Do you know what I mean? Like there is such a thing as things aren't built the same anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting that not everything can be digitized, miniaturized, and streamlined to be better than the original. Maybe more convenient, maybe more portable, maybe smaller or efficient in certain ways. But not necessarily always better.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. The excuse that most, like I work in where I do with appliances, the excuse that they use is, well, cost of building went way up. The materials are more expensive. So if you wanted something that was going to last that long, it would cost you 3 times as much. And I thought, okay, so a $300 washing machine built with high quality steel is going to cost me $900. I'll spend that money if it's going to last me 35 years. I have no problem with that.
What they found, I think, generally, and that's why we're here, is most people won't.
Right.
You know, and because of that, there is not really the option. You can buy industrial quality everything.
But here's the thing: half of the shit's getting built overseas, where they're working in sweatshops. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost them that much more.
Right.
You know what I mean? American products cost more because you got to pay the American workforce. We were just talking about this earlier with Fender guitars, right? That's why an American standard Stratocaster costs more than a Mexi Strat. It's not necessarily always quality of wood, although I think a lot of times to make the buyer feel better, they'll put higher quality wood in the American Strats. That Mexi Strat, I bought that thing for $500.
Yeah.
It's one of the most reliable guitars I've ever played in my life. You know what I mean?
That actually reminds me. Another reason why we're fucked. Gibson Guitars is close to bankruptcy.
I saw that.
Right on the edge.
Glad I bought mine before that.
Yeah. That's very sad to think
That
about.
is very sad. That is very sad.
Yeah, for real.
I'm sure they won't go out of business, but they may very well end up owned by somebody who mismanages them and lowers their quality.
That hurts.
You know?
I'm very glad I bought my Les Paul now. The only thing I have to do now is get a casino.
Watch for them to go to the way of Craftsman.
Yeah. Oh, that one really hurts. Kenmore is another big example. Kenmore just got purchased by Daewoo. Do you remember Daewoo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenmore is owned by Daewoo now.
Appliance maker and part-time car maker for reasons.
Buyer beware. Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute disaster.
Wow.
But yes. Craftsman was old reliable. Craftsman was like Snap-on quality for people who didn't want to spend Snap-on money.
Yep.
Craftsman tools were great. They put a lifetime stamp on all that shit.
Yeah, they were.
Right. Yeah, it's good. It's good quality shit for normal people. You know. So yeah, that's very sad to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the quality of our product sucks. That's why we're fucked.
That's true.
Well, I'll keep mine short here. Okay. So last week I said I was fucked because it had taken a lot of, like a month of being careful and diligent and all this to get caught up on my bills, and I'm finally caught up on my bills, which is great. I'm very excited.
Still
about
working
that.
on it,
But now I have to get caught up on a whole different kind of budget, which is the calorie budget, and it fucking sucks.
Aubrey's doing that now. I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
Over the past week, I've gone 5 or 6 days without drinking at all.
Yeah, that's one thing. Honestly, if you drink like I do, if you just decide not to drink for a while, the weight will fucking fall off you.
Yeah, it
Yeah, because it's guys like us don't ever just sit down and have a beer.
No, we drink a lot of beer.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
See, now I drink once a week. I'll have a beer every once in a while, but like I drink like this once a week, and it's on this podcast. My problem is like overeating. I have a big I stopped smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
So now I'm filling that void with pizza. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're laughing. That's the truth. Like
I know.
I'm shoving food in my face.
Yeah.
And still. I still love the way cigarettes smell.
I know.
Oh God, it's so great.
Jesus Christ.
And let me just tell you, like, I know how far along are you? No, it's okay. How far along are you now?
I am now. This is my, I believe, 14th, might be 13th week of not
Okay,
smoking
so you're
cigarettes.
we're reliably 3 months into it.
Yeah.
3.5, almost 4 months.
Yes.
You're over the hump.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to get easier, but it's not going to go away. I'm telling you, I'm like 2 years into this shit.
Oh, I know.
That feeling is not going to go away. I love the smell of cigarettes.
I will gladly stand next to anyone smoking.
I will tell you now, I'm down to like once every 2 weeks where I get one of those cravings.
Yeah.
And they're short. They're like a 30-second quick little thing.
Earlier today, I had a craving.
Yeah.
I was just stressed out with work, and I was sitting there thinking about smoking, and I just looked up to the heavens and shook my fists.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a fucking addiction, man. And the thing is, it took me forever to get this through my head. The excuse that everybody uses, well, I really enjoy smoking.
Sure.
It's like, that's because you're addicted to it, you fucking idiot.
That's the
like
fucking thing.
you're addicted
Yes.
to it, right?
It's actually really good to talk about because that is something I always really believed.
well,
I like it. And the thing is, yes,
of course you do.
you like it because your brain likes
It's
it.
because there's a bunch of dopamine going into this part of your head.
Oh, see, that's distressing to me now because I say the same thing about drinking. Like I like beer.
You like it because your brain likes it.
Yeah.
Right, but
You're not an alcoholic.
even if I didn't have concern, like let's say I drank, at most once every 3 months.
Yeah.
Like I would still say I like the sensation.
Sure, of
You
course.
know?
You like the sensation, but like when people say something like "I really enjoy smoking," I put it on two different wavelengths because alcohol addiction is here, cigarette addiction is here. It hits your brain much quicker.
There's a more chemical thing to smoking.
Anything with chemicals in it is easier to get. Anything is you can get dependent on.
Everything has chemicals in it.
Exactly, sugar.
Sugar may be actually the worst.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
we could talk about some other time. That's a whole conversation.
Right.
In itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, but people who say they regularly enjoy smoking and they're smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day, no shit. It's because you can't function without it.
Your brain likes it. And
That's
actually,
the line. If you can function without it, then you're not addicted to it.
To kind of actually, this kind of plays into what I'm talking about, is because I think a lot of this stuff, like, you are your brain.
Right.
You are your brain. You like the things your brain wants.
We're all just brains piloting meat suits.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and you know what? We, after the fact, rationalize a lot of shit that is basically what our brain decides we want or have to pursue.
Exactly.
Like, that's the way your consciousness works.
Yeah.
'Cause it's this silky screen in front of the man behind the curtain that is telling you what to do.
Incidentally, this is a great cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is really good.
Yeah.
I really like this. I'm going to buy another one of these.
But to that end, there's a similar dynamic happening with food, right?
You know, the Matrix is telling me the steak is juicy and delicious.
Yeah. Oh, God. I totally empathize with Cypher.
I know the steak isn't real. I know the Matrix is telling my brain it's juicy and delicious.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
Every time I see him, I just think about him on The Sopranos after
Yeah.
he beats that hooker to death. Tony slaps the drink out of his hand and he goes, like, just doesn't react to the fact that he just killed somebody. Tony slaps the drink out of his hand and he goes, oh! Oh! That's one of my favorite parts.
So good. I did
I want
tell
to be
you.
someone famous, like an actor.
Yeah, God.
God
Yeah.
damn you, Cypher!
I could only really see him as Cypher.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so I'm now trying to lose weight. I started
do it.
my initial weigh-in, and people don't believe me, and it makes me happy when they don't believe me. Was at 329 pounds.
Yeah.
That was my weigh-in, basically not last Thursday, but the Thursday before.
That's about where I'm at. So
And then the first week, and I'm not sure exactly what it was, I lost 8 pounds in a week, which doesn't sound possible. And I'm still not sure, but I weighed myself twice. Like, both times I weighed myself twice. So that's what the scale said. But there's kind of come to a point where I'm going to hit a wall. And the only way I think really to, like, get ahead of, like, losing weight is to be really meticulous about the number of calories you're taking in and the number you're putting out.
That's all it is. That's all
exercise is important. Diet is 10 times more important.
They say 80% of weight loss happens in the kitchen.
Yeah, I really think it does. And I think it's awareness.
You know what I think too. I think there's some stuff too that you might not be aware of, like namely the fact that since you stopped smoking, your taste is probably coming back, so you're not eating as much to get the same amount of satisfaction.
I didn't really think about that. I didn't really think
you
about
might not
that.
be aware of it, but that might be something that's happening.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't think about that. I know that like my tastes shifted a lot as a result of smoking. Went to a lot more saltier things and a lot spicier things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and those things cut through the numbness of your dulled taste.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant it the other way. I was like, I had the opposite. I cannot eat hot food the way I used to. You know, it's hard.
I still do.
Well, I still do. I love hot food. It's just I have to go. Whoo. I want to
Take a little breather.
I told you the moment I
suffering, man.
The moment I knew I was ready to dive into it head first, I was already like 3 or 4 weeks quit.
Yeah.
And it was after one of my meetings. I was making breakfast.
Yeah.
And I was frying sausage. I made toast with strawberry rhubarb jam and hot fresh coffee, and I smelled all of it at once, and I went, oh. It just it was like for the first time in my life I smelled breakfast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In years, and it was just I'm like, all right, I have to.
There are little weird things that I never noticed before. Like, for example, I can sit directly across from someone, and if they're drinking a beer, I can smell the beer on their breath.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't notice that when I was smoking.
I know. Mm-hmm. And
that sounds crazy, but you don't notice.
Think about this:
things.
you couldn't smell it on yourself either.
Yep.
So all those times when I was in college, when I got like pulled over on the way home, there's no way they didn't know that I had beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they know the minute that they get close to it.
Right? Yeah. It's I don't know.
But yeah, so basically, I'm just trying really hard to know exactly what, in terms of a calorie count and specifically portions.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard.
It's all portion control.
And I think now is a really good time to do it because I've just basically hit this point where the smoking thing really is like, it does feel like the past.
Yeah. Good.
I feel like I'm not fighting it now.
Good.
I have a new routine.
I told my mom the other day, I said, sometimes I wish that I had something horrible would happen and I had nothing else to live for just so I could start smoking again. That's addiction.
You want to talk about The Sopranos?
Yeah.
How about Johnny Sack?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just puffing that cigarette with his wife looking on.
Cancer medicine getting pumped into him. Yeah.
I totally related to that. I was
Yeah.
like, yep.
Yep.
If I ever find out,
Oh, yeah.
I'm toast.
I said, that's
I'm
it.
gonna start smoking.
Hell yeah. Because what do you got? What else? You know?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You're going to just continue to be healthy? What does it matter? Who fucking cares? I'm gonna take up heroin.
It's the kind of thing. It's the kind of thing that's easy to say when you have the hypothetical scenario that you're 100% sure nothing will get better.
Right.
But of course, in real life, there's always hope.
I'll take all the tobacco out of my cigarette and mix it with some heroin, put it back in, and just walk around all day.
Yeah,
That's not a joke. If I'm terminal, if I got like 2 years left, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So on this optimistic note of all the reasons that we are fucked, both whatever. Anyway,
Kinky and
yeah, right, and personal,
Technological.
and ball gags and whatnot. We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back with the main segment for this episode:
smoking and drinking.
smoking and drinking.
Oh boy.
All right, stick around. And we're back.
Why'd you do that?
Sorry. Oh man, dude, you gotta get a little Gremblo into the podcast.
Everybody, do yourself a favor. Just look up Gremblo art show.
Not safe for work.
Don't do it at work, and don't do it if you're about to go to bed.
Gremblo. It's GREMBLO. Gremblo art show.
Thank you, Psychic Pebbles, for being a weird fuck. All right, so we are moving into the main part of this episode here, and my episodes these days, as you remember, begin with something that we like to play called Would You Rather.
Yes.
Smoking and drinking.
I choose drinking.
Every time.
Yeah.
So I have for you two Would You Rather scenarios.
Okay.
Here we go. Number one, this option, you can read minds. Everyone, but every time you think something racist, even by total accident, everyone nearby can read that.
Oh.
And only that, by the way. That's the only psychic impression you make on people is that. Or, number two, you are the king of a small island, and all the prosperity it offers. It's it's like basically an island. See, it's not like crazy technologically advanced, but it's like loaded up with all the amenities, all the kind of things you need. But all your subjects are basically Assy McGee, where they have butts for faces and they fart when they talk, and you're the only outsider allowed. So it's just butt face people. You can't have like people like you.
Okay.
How racist by whose definition?
By their definition. So if they think that it was racist, they'll get it. Like if it's filtered
if
by
it passes their racism barrier.
yes, then they hear you think that and go, oh my god.
Do they also have, all right, so to the other side, do they also have separate asses that they poop out of?
No,
They
poop out of their
this-
faces too.
Okay.
It's the whole thing's backwards. They have a face for an ass.
What's on the back side of their thighs?
Well, there's a face down there, and they have to put food into it too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you kiss them, do you kiss them on the ass?
Ass.
Okay.
Well, the ass face.
Okay.
You kiss them on the butthole.
you
That's
kiss-
where their head is.
Oh, so you kiss them where their ass would be.
yeah.
Okay.
They consider it very weird to do it the other way.
That's actually kind of beautiful because like you would only get to see their face in the most intimate of scenarios.
I just think it's the most
private.
I just think it's the most personal part of a person's body.
And to gain access to such a
No one knows what that
place.
No one knows
what that
No
is.
one knows what that is.
No one knows what that is.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody knows what that is.
So okay, but did they walk backwards so they can see me, or did we just assume that
They just kind of see.
They're like bad echolocation.
Yeah,
through farts.
They fart and can use the farts as the echoes are received to where their ass
Use the
is.
farts, Luke.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking like that would be really funny for the first week.
Exactly.
Well, you wouldn't be there for it to be funny. It's fast. It's an anthropological wet dream.
Yeah, basically, remember,
Especially if you're into anal.
you're like Caesar.
Which I am.
If they suck your dick, is it fellatio or is it anal?
Right.
a really good question.
That's a great question. Yeah. These are the biting questions that we answer on this podcast.
That's really what this is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, they again, I think it'd be funny.
But no,
for a week
that's
too.
really beautiful though. You'd only get to see their face, their real face,
as like a reveal because you were intimate.
in their most in your most intimate moments.
Yeah.
In the same way that someone you can only see someone naked if they're intimate or if they're doing it for money.
But this is like counterbalance. This is like this is counterbalanced by the fact that like a waiter can't ask you what you want to drink without farting right in your face.
And it smells.
Yeah,
And
it smells like farts. Yeah, it's an asshole. Fart. It's a functional asshole where their face should be.
Yeah, but I mean, like, are most of these people clean regularly like we do?
Probably more. I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they probably clean more because it's
Sure.
easier to reach with their hands. So they just they're constantly down.
Do they have an equivalent of teeth brushing where they like put like a
Like
brush,
a toilet brush?
Yeah, a toilet brush full of fluoride into their face.
They do brush, but they brush where their face is.
Oh, okay.
So they brush behind them.
So a water flosser is just like a bidet that's facing outward.
Yeah, like a water. You squat over a water pick to clean your teeth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
See, this is for me, this is the hardest one you've done so far because
I know.
my sense of shame is on one side.
Right.
And my
I don't know what I think that other people would consider racist.
yeah.
Even by accident. Even by accident.
So like if I'm just like
So if you see
fucking
something
Mexicans,
stereotypical happening, and then you notice that it's a stereotype, and then people are like, that's a little bit racist for you to like,
Yeah.
Do they hear it in their heads or does it
They
look
hear
like
you think it.
Like by acknowledging that it's a stereotype, I have made it racist and therefore it
sort
will
of.
be broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like you kind of like you acknowledging it is basically like, figures.
I take the ass people.
I think I'm gonna go with the ass people. I think I'm gonna
Really? But you gotta remember, you're not even. You'll have
here's let me explain to you why.
Sure.
I don't want to know what everybody's thinking.
Actually, no, okay.
That's a good
No,
point.
no. Here's a question. Here's a question. Is this telepathy? Is it an at-will ability, or am I going to constantly hear everyone's thoughts that's around me at every given time?
Good point. You can choose.
Okay, then I pick the telepathy.
See, I like that even less. I don't want to know. I don't want to have that power.
No. See, because if I can read someone's mind by choice, I can determine what the best thing to say is to counteract the passive reverse telepathy racism.
But don't you think that there would be like a point where you start to sort of like seem like you're defending too much? You're like kind of backtracking a lot,
I no, because I would encourage them to tell me all the weird things they assume about me being a white person.
That's true.
I think you can't have racism if everyone is completely honest about their assumptions and stereotypes.
Sure.
I think that the impact of this could be pretty substantial too, though.
It's like it's like what I always say. When people do like fakey foreign accents, I genuinely believe most of the time it's not done to be offensive,
right?
Especially in light of the fact that there's no way people in other countries don't make fun of the way we talk.
Oh, for sure.
There's no way. There's no way people in Japan aren't going like, "Hey, howdy, how y'all doing?
Yeah, right.
Welcome to America."
It's always Southern, incidentally. They always identify us as Southern.
Yeah, like we're all like that.
We're all that.
But then the redneck voice that is not distinctly Southern is all over the country.
I ask you that.
I was fixing to ask you.
Oh, excuse me. Oh,
yeah. So I think I don't know.
Gotta get through you here.
It really is. The problem is it's limited to what they think is racist.
I think I'm going to go with the ass people.
You think you're going to ask people?
I'm going telepathy, honestly. I think the trade-off is okay.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to have that power. I don't think I want to know.
Yeah.
I think my life is sometimes you just don't need to know, and I think I would abuse that power. Just me personally.
Yeah. I can see that.
So I think I'm going to go with the ass people because I'm sure they're all nice.
I mean, abusing the power is the whole point.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Exactly. That is why have the power if you can't abuse it for your own self.
But I think over time I would find out a lot that I didn't want to know.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's true.
I think there's certain things that I just don't want to know.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I guess.
I think I'll take the ass people.
But then again, with the ass people, you'll never know other people that don't have asses for faces. You're the only one.
I'll get used to it.
Get used to.
Yeah. 69ing is going to be way easier.
All right. I think that's a pretty good argument.
Let's just say, is that even feasible?
I don't know. I think the older you get, the less. The less. That's just harder to do. Yep. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going. What are you going?
I thought about this. I thought about this, but I do think I agree that the big concern is I'm gonna want to listen to what people are thinking, and I'm gonna be disappointed in almost everybody.
Exactly.
It's
you're gonna find out what people really think about you in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can handle that.
That's not always gonna be pleasant.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I can be mentally called a fat fuck before I cave.
Exactly.
So, you know what? I think I might go ask people too.
There we go.
I think I might go ask people too.
All right.
Man, you gotta have an opinion. But sorry. Has it been said?
Yeah, that's what this segment should be called. Man, you gotta have an opinion.
Yeah, actually. And it's interesting as many times as
what the fuck?
I appreciate the amount of deliberation that happened on this one because I do think it was a little bit tricky.
It was
a hard one.
There's advantages and disadvantages on both sides, but I think we've come around to it. So, woo!
Just a little taste of what you're gonna be going through living with ass people, man.
I'll take it.
Where can I get you a beverage?
That's hilarious. That's for the first week again.
Exactly.
It's like,
oh, you guys are fucking hilarious. And then, like a weekend, you're like, you just shit on what you were bringing to me.
Yeah.
You just sprayed the meal you were handing me with poop flecks from your ass mouth.
Oh my god. Yeah, but you said they clean it. I'm assuming they're
right, but they still poop out of it. They're not cleaning it all the time. They keep the crack in the asshole nice and clean, but there's still
Listen, people get rim jobs every day, and it's fine. It's fine.
All right. I'm still with it. Anyway. Sure. Oh, God, no. I just thought about that. No. I have to change my vote.
Why?
I have to change my vote.
Thank you.
I have to change my vote. Here's why.
Let me tell you why.
Somewhere, you order a nice ribeye, and the guy leaves, and he goes to the kitchen, and he gives the order, and all those guys, it's not weird to them to be talking while they're cooking, or laughing and farting, and you have no idea what ended up on. You couldn't
everything. You can't go out to eat.
Contaminated with feces. Everything.
Yeah, but they're living off of it just fine.
Yeah, they're fine with it. I'm not fine with it.
Oh.
Yeah, because they're not ingesting it through their.
Oh, yeah.
Like everything a normal person would eat would be contaminated in poop flecks.
Yeah, but I'm the king, so I can have like a law that says you have to.
Yeah, that's true. You
douche out your asshole.
Compulsory ass mouth.
Instead of like the wash your hands signs, it'll be like
douche your face.
Employees must rinse asshole.
Employees must douche face ass before returning to work.
Oh my god.
Still going to ask people.
Oh wow. That's amazing. Wow. I can't. Oh. The more you think about it, just the worse it gets.
we are all about 30 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd mention apropos of nothing.
Yeah. That's something else. Okay, let's move on here to the main topic for this episode.
Yes, let's get out of this.
I don't want to think about my food covered in shit. I just had a great...
Yeah. I just want to watch one of them drink a beer.
Like with a funnel. Like they're in college.
Yeah. Right.
A keg stand would look really weird.
Right. It would just look like It just kind of looked like a person with legs for arms drinking.
Oh, battery?
Your computer threw up an alert.
Oh, yeah.
I just heard it through the monitor. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn that thing down.
literally, like every time I boot up my computer, it's like a Razer update is available. I should probably just update my keyboard, but
Yes.
I don't
Get your updates.
I don't want to. I'd rather whine about the alert.
This is my very first why we're fucked, I think. Update your computer. Yeah. we're how many episodes in?
Okay, but it's not my computer technically. It's my fancy light up keyboard.
It's a pretty sweet keyboard.
Until they find
It is a sweet keyboard.
until they find an exploit from your keyboard to your microprocessor, and then you're really fucked.
What the fuck is a microprocessor?
I don't know.
I have a regular processor.
Your processor, yeah. Anyway, so let's move on here. I wanted to talk about. I don't think we've done this one. It's getting a little harder as we go on to trying to totally avoid repeating ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a conversation for the end of season 2.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So I wanted to talk about times when either you or someone else swooped in and saved the day.
Oh.
This is something that we haven't talked about, but I think everybody... See, last week we talked about superheroes, right? And that got me thinking... That got me thinking about moments of ordinary heroism, which happen all the time.
Sure.
And oftentimes in really ways that maybe don't necessarily always make for a story. But heroism happens every day.
Yeah. I like this.
Times where you did something you never thought you could actually do, but you just found out you had it in you, or times when you saw someone else do something and you just thought, that's incredible. They acted, they took action.
Yeah.
Or they were here at just the right time. This could have been a disaster, So yeah, let's talk about being a hero.
I can be a hero, baby. I don't have any.
Oh, okay, cool. Ben? Actually,
Oh man, it's gonna take me a bit to think about, but
that's okay.
I know I've had some.
I'll give you a short one that was not that big, but I still always think about it because it was like a small little moment of like I could have just been like, oh, fuck that, but didn't. But back when I used to work at the grocery store, I remember one day it was like in the summer. Someone, I didn't even see them leave their car, but someone walks into the store after they parked, and I'm outside moving buggies, and I see the cars start to move.
Oh, shit.
For some reason, someone put their car in neutral, took the keys out, and walked away. Right?
Fuck.
So the car is idling in reverse.
Oh, no.
And it happens really, not idling, really. It's just falling, basically. The car is falling into the center. It's going back towards the cars behind it. And it has a whole lane to cross. And I see this and I go, oh, fuck, right?
Then you're the only one there.
I'm the only
who
one
can do anything.
Yeah. So, not really, just sort of like as an instinct, I went, oh, fuck. And I ran and got in front of the car and managed to slow down the car before it went into someone else's car. And the driver hadn't even made it into the building yet. Turns around, hear me yelling, go, oh, shit. And they see that it's their car. And I've managed to just stop it before it collided with another one.
Wow.
Which I remember, I just like thinking about that because it's like, okay.
You could have just fucked everybody's shit up.
I could have just been like, this is going to be hilarious.
Right. And it would have been.
Yeah.
No, that's good, man.
Yeah. It's not a big story. It's not a huge deal, but I always think about it.
I worked at the same store you did. I think we talked about it a little bit before.
Yeah.
That kind of shit happened all the time at that place. That place was haunted.
The thoughtlessness.
The weirdest. Yeah.
And the just stuff that happened just out of oversight.
Yeah. My favorite was the time somebody came in and grabbed me and they're like, hey, your cigarette ashtray is on fire. And I looked at her and I just cocked my head to the side and I walked outside and she followed me and I still had my head cocked to the side the whole time. And sure enough, I mean, it looked like when people light garbage cans on fire and they have it was just going. It was so full of cigarette butts that somebody put a lit cigarette into it and it just ignited.
Yeah.
It just went up. It was like,
and it hit that critical point where it's high up enough.
Yeah.
that the depth that normally the air couldn't get to replenish the fire was right at the surface, and it just goes.
It just kept. It looked like the Olympic torch. It was just waving, and it was like not a short flame. It was like like 2 feet. I went, all right, I'm gonna go get some water.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that kind of shit happened all the time. I have one that was not me. Yeah. I was at a baseball game. It was an Indians game when I was, I don't know, like 11 or 12, something like that.
Yeah.
And I've seen this actually before on sports clips shows because it doesn't happen every day. It's really weird. I think they were playing the Toronto Blue Jays.
Threw a pizza.
Here comes a pizza.
Here comes a pizza, Sam.
No,
I got circle on it. I don't have my telestrator.
There was this. Like in the first or second inning, a foul ball comes over and it lands 2 sections over from me. A couple rows down, and this guy catches it. He looks around and he hands it to this kid behind him who's there with his sister.
Yeah.
Like 5 innings later.
Gotta give it to the nearest kid.
Oh, right. Exactly. Yeah, you have to. 5 innings later, a foul ball comes up over the net, goes into the exact same guy's hand. And then he hands that ball to the kid's sister.
No.
It was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Sweet.
This dude was like, I don't know, 16 or 17. And he just, he watched it. He barehanded it. Just, whoop, here you go. And then did it again.
Aww.
Like, it went, like, first of all, the fucking insanity of catching this a foul ball twice in the same seat. Like, and it was right to him both times. It was just insane.
It's improbable.
Yeah. Yeah. But I always thought it was cool. You got to give it to the nearest kid because, like, you're an adult. What the fuck do you need it for?
Yeah, right.
Like,
I guess unless you're basically a man child that has like lived out this fantasy for way too long, and you finally have your ball. It's like you could like you could set your childhood free finally.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
This stuff happens all the time. It's these like little moments of like, I guess it's really kindness too. But I think in that sense that guy was a hero to those kids.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because you really think about the time that we're in. Even then, you know what I mean? Like 20 years ago, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if, half of the people living in this country probably wouldn't have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like, but yeah, I just thought that was really cool.
That's really cool.
And amazing that happened.
Yeah.
As that just doesn't.
Definitely would have expected it to go the other way.
Yeah.
I always love those when you see someone like do the opposite.
Yeah.
Of like fighting a child or something like that. Like you always see like crazy Black Friday videos.
Oh yeah.
There's one relatively popular or famous one from like this last season of a woman like stealing it looks like a pan in a box or something. It's not even something a kid necessarily wants. But the kid's holding it and a grown woman yanking it out of the kid's hand.
Jesus.
And then like that kid's parent being like, what the fuck are you doing? You just took that from my kid. And then, of course, squabble ensues and all that shit.
Yeah.
The first response is not to argue. The first response is to punch them in the nose. Yes. Like, it's like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah. And
Black Friday, I'm invincible.
And capitalism, great.
Yeah. Amen.
Oh, heavens.
Morty.
I was witness once to an attempted bar scam. This is when I was still I was very much lacking in confidence.
Yeah.
Big difference. Today versus I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I was at a certain bar that we would frequent in our college days.
Yeah.
These 2 guys came in and they had a few drinks. I was there. A couple of the other regulars were there, and we were, everyone was having a good time.
Some brews, laughs,
a couple of beers.
This dude, one of the guys, guy A.
Is that French?
Was like guy A.
Bonjour, I'm a guy. I would like on the beer.
So yeah, guy A, he's French.
Yeah.
He was like, this place is great. The drinks are reasonably priced. I'm liking this food. I'll definitely come back here. And then guy B is Creole. He the two of them would like. I can't remember the exact sequence of events, but they did this like this kind of dance where they would like one would go to the bathroom, one would go to smoke, one would come back, and then he'd be like, "Oh, I gotta go get a smoke." The other one would come back, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna join my friend," and just a human shell game basically.
Yeah, right.
And at one point, Gaye says,
Pardon-moi!
Pardonnez-moi! I've lost my card!
What's with the words that come out of
I've lost mon card!
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
How do you say where in French? I don't know.
Oué!
Where is my card?
That's not my dog.
So anyway, he's like, oh my god, what happened to my card? And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
He's like my card is my company credit card. Oh man, my boss is gonna kill me if I lose it. It's my company credit card. And then Guy B he's like, all right, whoever took it better fucking fess up, and so I'm like too like cagey at this point to like realize this is a scam. This is a pretty transparent con.
This is a Slip and Jimmy-esque Better Call Saul scam.
Yeah, it really is. It's a super low rent but probably effective scam.
Yeah, so like immediately like I'm sitting next to this guy and he's like did you take it? You got it in your wallet? And I'm like sitting there like kind of nursing my drink like this, and then the bartender was the hero of the situation. She came up and was like, just stop, get the fuck out of here before I call the cops. And so immediately all of their attention was on the bartender now.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just like, I'm kind of just shuffling, scooching over this way, just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
But she basically said, if you're gonna call the cops. Otherwise, get the fuck out of here, because nobody here has stolen anything of yours.
Yeah.
And at one point, they, me and a couple other people, like actually took out our wallets and emptied them to show that we hadn't taken anything. And afterwards, the people at dinner were like, "Why would you do that?
Yeah,
right.
don't fucking buy into it."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was nervous, honestly. Like this dude was like a solid 6'5", 6'6", and he was standing right next to me with the neck of a beer bottle, gripped in his hand. I didn't know what the fuck he was gonna do. I was honestly fucking scared. So thank goodness the bartender at the time, she had more street smarts than I did. You know.
Gosh, I wonder how often they pulled that same scam.
It was. I mean, in retrospect, like thinking about it, because I remember everything very clearly. I hadn't had that much to drink by that point.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, it was just a super transparent.
Yeah.
And it's fucking embarrassing that I didn't realize it at the time, but that's just where I was in life at the time. I had never run into people trying to run a con.
Yeah.
The correct response is get the fuck away from me.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Actually, now that I think about it, I wonder how
I've got my own fucking money. Like, I don't need to steal your card.
We all typically act as though people are telling the truth.
Right.
That's like the default mode, and you really have to be tripped, to think the opposite.
Right.
Sales will beat that out of you. Real quick.
Yeah, I'm
Always
sure.
assume the worst.
Yeah, but that's how we usually act. So when someone says something like, "Where's my card?" you better show me who has it. The typical, it is a natural course of action to be like, "It wasn't me. Here's all my cards. If you'd like to peruse them."
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And in retrospect, I should have just been like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean, at the time I was intimidated. Just recently, though, I texted you guys about this old guy at the Y.
Yeah, right. This is your moment to shine there.
It's like every moment where I think in retrospect, like, oh man, I wish I would have told him off. I wish I would have said something, and I actually fucking did.
Dude, it's such a great feeling.
Yeah.
Once you get out of that zone where you don't care about offending people,
I was really mad for the rest of the day, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it.
You got that release out.
So basically the story was his locker was stuck, and he was like, these have got to be the shittiest lockers I've ever seen. I'm like, well, what's the problem? And he's like, I can't get it open. So I go over, and it's like, in truth, I didn't know what the problem was. It just wasn't opening. So I just gave it a real solid jerk, and it came open.
Yeah.
Didn't thank me. I didn't think anything of that at the time.
Yeah.
But so he starts asking me where the pool is. There's 2 pools in this Y. One I know how to get to, one I don't.
Yeah.
The downtown Y is it's a little confusing to navigate until you're familiar with the building. And I only go to like 1 or 2 areas. I have a client that I take. He goes to the there's like the weight machines, treadmills, stuff like that. And then he, on our way back down to the locker rooms, there's a punching bag. He goes a few rounds with the punching bag.
You have to.
Yeah.
If there is one in there, you have to.
Oh yeah.
It's just too tempting.
Yeah. For his most recent birthday, he got a pair of big boxing
real
gloves.
gloves.
So so I mean you got to go a couple rounds with the bag.
Yeah.
So he asked me where the pool is, and I'm like, oh, it's if you go up the stairs and go to the right. He's like, no, I know where that pool is. I'm talking about the shallow pool.
Okay. It's just like being a dick, like off the bat.
Yeah, just getting real snotty. I was like, well, I think it's I think it might be at the other end of the locker room, but in truth, I don't know. Before he asked me to open the locker, he asked if I worked there, and I said, I'm afraid not. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so after saying, I'm pretty sure it's down this hallway, and but in truth, I don't really know. He said, well, why didn't you just say you don't know in the first place?
What a dick.
Yeah. And so I was about to leave it go, but then I decided I'd tell him, it was day two without drinking is my crabby day. so I was it was not the mature thing to do, especially not in front of a client.
Let him have it. That's a guy who hadn't had anybody give it to him in a long time.
Yeah,
sure.
The mature thing to do is not always the right thing.
Correct. Yeah. So I was turned around. I was about to let it go, but I turned back around. And I said, I think my exact words were, look, whatever you've got up your ass, you need to deal with it instead of taking it out on other people. Yeah. And he did not appreciate that at all.
Right. Good. Fucking asshole.
He came up and just basically said, do you know where the pool is? No. Then you need to say, I don't know, sit down and shut up. And so I just the only thing I think I could think to do was just laugh at his face. What I should have done was said, you need to find a staff instead of just asking me.
Yeah, right.
Do the fucking smart thing. The only thing I could think to do was just laugh in his face.
Which is just as good, because you just ruined his day.
Yeah.
Whenever you laugh at somebody, you just ruin their day immediately. If you ever had someone laugh in your face, you know how that feels.
Yeah. So I mean, I felt bad because, again, it's not the kind of example I want to set for my, like, he was more worried about me than
Sure.
It was a very out of the ordinary thing.
The moral of that story is you have to take the low road sometimes.
Yeah. Sure.
You have to.
Sure.
For your own sanity.
At the end of the day, honestly, I felt good that I did it.
Yeah.
I felt good that I did it rather than going home thinking, man, I should have said something to him when I actually did say something to him.
Yeah, when people deserve it, you need to take the low road every once in a while.
Yeah. So
Not always, but sometimes you have to take the low road. It's often a good idea.
So I think it counts because I was my own hero in that situation. I was a hero to my future self.
Yeah, right.
The future self that was sitting at home thinking thinking on the decisions I made during that day and thinking, you know what, I did the right thing.
Yeah.
I definitely did the right thing.
Yeah.
There's
you can't expect to just not be called out on being an asshole just because you're old.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Well, and a lot of older folks just assume that.
Yeah.
I was always taught that respect is earned. You should assume respect, but it's earned and not given.
Yeah,
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Everyone
Right.
starts with a baseline.
You're right. You know, you assume some kind of respect, but you know, if you do something to jeopardize that for yourself, then it's open season. Fuck you.
Yeah.
In that vein, I have one that this is my mom, and this is going to make everybody at this table very happy. I think.
Oh, nice.
She
All
was
right.
out. She was out shopping a couple of years ago. I don't know if she's Christmas shopping or what, but she was at like Macy's or somewhere. And there was this guy who had in tow with him a kid who was very clearly like autistic or developmentally disabled, and you know was acting out in the store. Which, you know,
Right.
happens when, like, and she said, you know, like, very autistic. Like, you could tell.
Profoundly,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and there was this guy and his two, like, teenage kids.
Reminds me of another story.
Yeah, this dude and his two teenage kids who were there. And they were just, she said you could tell, like, the whole time they're in the store, they're, you know, like, they're being shitty about it.
Okay.
So they end up, like, in line, like my mom is in the back, the dude and his two teenage sons are in front, and then the guy with the autistic little boy is in front of her.
Yeah.
And this is important to this story. My mom is not this person. She's very shy. She's a very like, I'm a pretty brash person, and she is like the dead polar opposite. She was always she like regularly said, you know, when she was younger, she always used to let people like step on her.
Yeah, I don't know your mom half as well as I would like to.
Yeah.
Like, I do. Your mom is fantastic company.
Yeah, and she's very smart. She's a very smart person, but she's very shy and doesn't like and lets people kind of like walk on her sometimes.
My mom is the same way. She's
Yeah.
very introverted, but definitely knows.
Yeah, when right is right and wrong is
100%.
wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So this guy he's got his two little like his two shitty little kids with him.
Right.
And he turns around and he looks at this other dude who's got the autistic son, and he said, "Can you shut that kid up?
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that." And before the guy could say anything, my mom went up and grabbed him by the shoulder and said, "You need to get out of here." And he said, "Excuse me?" She said, "You need to get the fuck out of here."
Yes.
She's like, "Whoa," and he's like trying to make excuses. He's like, "Whoa, he's annoying me." And he said, "Well, that might be annoying to you, but you are an asshole, and you need to get the fuck out of here. Shame on you."
Wow.
And the dude left. Like he took him and his two like kids, like put their shit on the counter and left.
Wow.
That's one of the things that convinces me that there is in this world a such thing. There is some gray area, but there is an absolute such thing as an absolute right and an absolute wrong.
Exactly.
And when people are called out on doing things that are wrong, they will back down.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that
Exactly.
convinces me.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that there is some moral absolutism.
So yeah,
in this world,
super proud of her for that, because fuck that.
Yeah.
Now my handling of that would have been a lot different. That interaction probably would have looked a lot different.
Oh, that would have enraged me.
Yeah. But I mean, like that's the way you handle somebody like that. You just shame the fuck out of them.
If it makes you feel any better, in my job, you know, folks with special needs.
Even imagine
in the community.
Yeah.
No, folks with special needs in the community. The vast majority of people are understanding and compassionate.
Good. Oh, good.
The vast majority.
Good.
Like I can count on one hand the number of times that someone hasn't been understanding. Like everyone. We actually went to a Mexican place for a field trip this past Friday. And you know, it was 2 staff to like 10 clients. Mm-hmm. So we had a pretty big workload, and our waiter, it turns out, had been a driver for a company a lot like ours in Costa Rica. So he had a lot of experience with folks like ours, and you know, was just super nice and super understanding, and you know, just the picture of patience and courtesy. It was really great to see, and I'm happy to say again, that's not just an isolated thing. Like I would say 99 times out of 100, the people I encounter in the community know exactly what, and that's, you know, I used to kind of make fun of awareness campaigns like, oh, thanks, I'm aware of autism now.
Yeah, thanks, right.
You know, thanks a lot. But no, those are important because they really do like you know, in
It's
just
doing something.
yeah, like in just like a, you know, a general just out and about, you know,
General out and about.
general.
Sorry.
Nobody knows what that is.
You know, so someone, you know, someone is behaving in you know, maybe in an unusual way.
Yeah.
More and more, I think in this day and age, a person's first thought is, well, you know, maybe they have a disability, maybe
Right.
you know, maybe they're a special needs, you know, sort of person.
Yeah.
And that's big, and that's, you know, again, why I say, you know, there's definitely a wrong way to handle a situation like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And good on your mom for calling
Well,
that
and a
out.
wrong way to be as a human being.
Yeah, right.
Because that kid's a human being too.
Yeah.
And whether you recognize it or not, he has feelings. Do you know what I mean?
He's not just doing it for no reason.
Right.
There is a reason. Even if you can't understand it, there's a reason behind it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. It's I don't know. That kind of shit just infuriates me. I mean, like to no end, you know.
I have a hero story that's I don't know if it's true. I read it online. I want it to be real. I want it to be so real. And I'm gonna forget some of the particulars, but the general story is great. General story. I remember reading on Reddit. It was like some guy is like at a Target. He's just shopping, right? And there's some mom and that mom's kid, and the guy's in the toy aisle because he's, you know, whatever he wants to buy a toy, whatever he's
Right.
you know. And there's a kid. This kid is like throwing a huge bratty fit about not getting the thing that the kid wants. And it's one of those things where you look at the parent who's just so exhausted and you feel for them.
Yeah.
But you're a little bit mad at them because they're not taking care of the thing. They've let this kid develop this kind of attitude for so long that now everyone has to deal with this. It's just a kid being an asshole, you know. And the guy, from what I understand, his response to this, his idea to solve this problem is when the mother is looking the other way, the guy they're right next to each other in the toy aisle, just bends over and farts full blast in this kid's face. And the kid, to his telling, like stops and just has this moment of recognition of what has happened. It's just like the kid goes blank. Kid goes blank and then immediately starts crying and complaining and trying to tell the mom who is not listening anymore. And the guy just walks away.
Beautiful.
Oh my god.
Look, I want that story to be real. It probably isn't. I want it to be real.
I have one that happened while I was in Chicago with a client of mine.
Yeah.
And he has a compulsion. You know, OCD is fairly common in quite a few of our clients. Just as, you know, it's not even specific to a certain diagnosis. It just kind of happens. You know, there's obsessions and compulsions. He likes to go to the restroom, wash his hands, take a quick sip of water, and then just go back to what he was doing.
Okay.
And if there's an easily accessible public restroom, he will do it, and he will do it multiple times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
As it happens, the restaurant we were dining in downtown Chicago, the bathroom was being cleaned, and was off limits. So he starts wandering around, and you know, I'm following him. I'm his staff, so I'm following him around, and he wanders. You know, despite my prompting, you know, not to go in, he wanders into like a business meeting. In this back room, and so you know, I'm completely lost on what to do. This hostess, and you know, who's taking care of this business meeting is like, sir, you have to get him out of here right now. Like this area is off limits to and I'm like, I know,
right.
thank you. So all of a sudden, this other server comes in and she leads us both over to the elevator.
Yeah.
She takes us up to the 12th floor.
Yeah?
Just so my buddy can wash his hands. Just so my dude can wash his hands, get a sip of water. She does all of this just for nothing.
Yeah, just out of kindness, understanding the situation.
Yeah, she salvages this entire situation. He goes in, washes his hands, takes a sip, and we go back down and have a wonderful lunch. And just because she had the wherewithal to understand what exactly was happening.
Yeah.
And help us out. That I think was a real kind of everyday hero moment.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
She just kind of came in out of nowhere.
What was on the 12th floor, by the way? Anything? What else was there?
Oh, it looked completely blank.
North Korean propaganda.
No, it was just like
a bunch of spiders.
Lingerie, alternate dimension. No, it's just like offices.
Yeah,
just an office kind of floor, but there were like restrooms like right near the elevator.
God, that's so nice.
And I couldn't think of enough words to thank her.
Yeah.
It was just it was incredible of her. But yeah, it's stuff like that. Again, like people when it comes to special needs individuals in the community, again, are more often than not just super great and understanding.
Yeah. Most people would rather like chop their own head off than hurt somebody in public or embarrass somebody or be or not be polite. Most people, I really think
that's and that again is why I like me personally, I'm optimistic about our species. It wasn't that long ago, in like the 70s.
Yeah.
That we would just throw people with special needs into like institutions with like barely any lighting and
Yeah, you can't help but think about that Geraldo expose, the most shocking example of this. Yeah,
Willowbrook was that place's name. Yeah, and that was scarcely more than 40 years ago.
Right.
And that's why I'm an optimist. It's like if you give a person just like the slightest little idea of the daily life or the necessities of a person without all the faculties or the abilities that the average person has, they'll adapt to it and they'll show courtesy for it. The average person will do that. It has been my experience, like 99 times out of 100. Mm-hmm. And it's hard not to be an optimist when you see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, I'm sitting here trying to think of like what are the things I wish I was able to do? Like what are the things I wish I
God.
You know what I wish I was able to do? I wish I was able to piss.
And rock a hot piss. Rocking a hot
piss. The thing is, and I'm sitting here struggling to think of times where I personally was the hero because I don't think I have a lot of those. I think like if I was the hero, I was the hero for my sake, not for the world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like for me,
just a faint, barely audible for me.
Yeah, but no, I think when like I mentioned long time ago at this table or in this basement.
Yeah.
I was done letting people get away with their shit. And I am not. I have like, you know what I mean? Like I am not letting people get away with their shit. I've tried to hold to that.
Yeah.
But when I do that, it's when I do this.
And when I do this.
It's for my benefit. I'm not thinking about the rest of the world. I'm just thinking like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good. So like it's hard for me to think of a time when I was the hero.
I know. I feel like so often I take the route of just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Just let stuff go along as is.
I can think of little stuff like times where people needed a hug where you give them a hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if that counts.
But I think all acts of kindness that are a surprise on some level are heroic because it's so much easier to just ignore other people.
Yeah.
or to just let stuff play out.
I had one. All right, I guess I do have something.
Big point Gandalf makes throughout the Hobbit movies.
Oh, I don't remember that being
why such a little person should be chosen to be like the big hero of the story.
Yeah.
I've watched it enough times because it always gives me chills. But he says Galadriel asks him why the halfling, and he says, "I do not know."
Yeah,
and he ultimately arrives at the point that he says Saruman believes it's acts of great power that keep darkness at bay, but that's not what I've found. It's simple acts of kindness and love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
We had a lady who came in. This was a couple months ago. The day before, she bought, and she said when she bought like all new kitchen appliances, and she bought a washer and dryer, and like none of it was particularly expensive stuff, but it was new.
Right.
Like, and she said, I've been saving, I've been trying for a very long time to save for this. And then the next day she came in because whatever fuckhole company she worked at fired her because she was like 3 years away from retirement.
Oh no.
So she had to cancel that order because she couldn't afford to pay it.
Oh,
and I said, it's okay. You know, she's apologizing to us. Like, I'm not the one who, you know what I mean?
It probably doesn't inconvenience you guys at all to have to cancel an order,
Well,
right?
Like, okay, like we have sales targets, and
Sure.
like she spent like $3,500. $3,500 is an extra with my bonus structure. I don't know, $10, $12 in my pocket, whatever.
Right.
So it doesn't hurt me that much. But like, even if it did, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it just.
Yeah.
But I told her and she's like apologizing to us, thinking like it's going to take away from our money, and I'm thinking like, lady, like I don't, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
That's a very old school business thing. You know, when business was like an agreement between two people that you seal. You know, you feel bad breaking it.
Yeah, like for the consumer to have any sense of like their end of the bargain does seem like forever ago. Like it seems antiquated.
And I'm so used to the opposite being true. Usually when people are coming in to return something, they're not, you know. And she's like apologizing. And I said, it's okay. And she's explaining to me what happened. And then she started crying. And I'm like, oh, no. So like I went around and I sat on the bench and I put my arm around her. And I'm like, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I said, we'll take care of it. I said, don't stress out about it. I said, you'll find something. I said, get on unemployment. There's a lot of places around here that are hiring. You know what I mean? She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
That's heroic to me. That's heroic to me.
She just like...
Yeah, that ain't part of your job description.
Someone who needed a hug. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could tell the look of someone who just needs a hug.
Right.
And she very clearly needed something.
Oh, my God.
You know, I want to bring this up a bit. By bringing up, I know it was you and me. I know Corey was there, and it was at the old Lemon Grove, and Winfield was hosting trivia.
Oh my God, I wanted to talk about this.
Winfield is a hero in my book, and I had only ever had chance encounters with him beforehand.
I love Winfield,
but
he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
If you've ever been at like a bar trivia thing and
Morty,
you've ever had Morty, and you've ever had you've ever had some drunk asshole screaming the answers at the top of his lungs.
That makes me so fucking angry to think about.
Winfield will not stand for that.
Yeah.
He called this guy up and started asking him the hardest questions in the world, and then shaming him for not being able to answer.
Yeah.
And then telling him to get the fuck out, with the entire crowd just behind him the whole time, just booing this guy and fuck you, and get the fuck out. That was glorious.
Yeah,
that was the most
so beautiful. Justice.
That was the most glorious fucking bar justice that I think I've ever seen.
Was that the night that Mary actually came up and tossed him into the street? Do you remember that?
That might have been.
That was the night, because he had him up there, and then the guy, he's like, all right, Winfield was like, all right, now go, or he made him.
He made him. He asked him a really fucking hard question, and then when he got it wrong, he shamed him. For it.
I think the guy tried to sit back down at the table, and Mary came out. Incidentally,
oh yeah, like you could just get involved in the fucking thing again. Like fuck you.
Right.
Yeah.
Mary, incidentally, if for people who don't know, if you weren't part of that scene. She was the head bartender at the Lemon Grove. Mary's about 4'11", and she's just, you know, it had to have been what, late 30s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like she just had this look of like, I'm too old for this shit, you know what I mean? And Mary was not afraid of anything. And I remember she took this guy by the shoulder and literally threw. I've never seen somebody get thrown out of a bar. She literally dragged him to the door and tossed him through the door, like bam, slammed the door open and tossed him into the street.
Yeah.
To a chorus of applause, a standing ovation.
Yeah.
I think she even gave a little bow when she came back in. It was so cool.
Yeah. You do not ruin trivia night.
No. On a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? Like,
why are you already outright hammered and ruining
you know what?
things?
That shit, I wouldn't forgive it, but I would at least understand it a little more if it happened at like midnight.
Yeah, right.
This is like 6:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Like, what are you doing, man? Go home.
You know, on this note, I think one of the things that this is like for me, like borders on superheroism, is comedians dealing with hecklers.
Oh God, there is nothing better. Than
that's my favorite thing ever.
Because the heckler is basically the worst thing on planet Earth, and this guy is essentially a trivia heckler. I'm thinking of a comedian. I think we might have watched this one together. I can't remember. One of my favorite comedians dealing with a heckler, and he didn't do it in the way of just screaming at him to shut him down. It was David Cross had a heckler, and his response was to do exactly that: invite them up on stage, hand them the microphone, and walk away. So you have a room of like probably hundreds.
Yeah.
And this is
goodness.
this young. It's like she's probably like 22.
I don't know if I've seen this. We gotta watch it though after this.
I'll have to see if I could find it. I think it was a girl. Maybe it's we'll figure out when we watch it. But it's just this person standing there, just nothing to talk about. He just went to get a beer. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go get a beer." And go ahead, and talk to him. And then when it was nothing, when it ended up amounting to nothing, he comes back up and says, "Oh yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, you can give her a hand. Yeah, it's a lot harder than it looks," kind of thing.
Yeah,
like maybe consider shutting the fuck up. I can't remember exactly how he dealt with it, but it was something like that.
What kind of stupid fucker pays to get into a comedy show and then ruins the fucking thing for everyone?
It's only a total narcissist that thinks that what they have to mumble about
is more important. I saw Bo. I don't know if you guys know Bo Burnham. He's like he's younger. He's like a little younger than us.
Yeah.
I watched him do it. Some girl in the crowd did the same thing to him, and he started to answer what question she was asking. He's like, "Yeah," shut the fuck up. And he like takes the microphone away. It's like you have nothing better to do than to ruin my dream. Yeah. And he like called her up on stage, sat her in front of the piano, and then left. Like just walked away.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Zach Galifianakis? Because he did something very similar.
I did. No, I've seen that one too, but this is definitely Bo.
He called her up on stage to like accompany him while he was playing the piano and doing stuff, and then like sent her back down to the audience. This whole ordeal lasted like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and
at the very end of it, he stands up and screams at her to shut up.
Yeah, but I love people dealing with this situation creatively, because that to me, that's always the villain, is the person who won't shut the fuck up when you paid to be somewhere as much as they did.
Oh God.
Now if the comedian is truly bad and they're taking it like really like it's like it's really like, you know, oh hey, I've got a 2.5 inch penis erect, and I'm doing this to try and impress some ladies, and my rape jokes aren't scanning, and you're gonna fucking make fun of me for that. If it's that situation, then the reverse is true.
The heckler can be the hero.
The heckler can be the hero in that situation.
If the comic is the villain, and most of the time I think that's probably not the case, but there are times where the comic is the outright villain.
Yeah, sure. But
they suck.
But if this person is like someone like the average American would know the name of, like, oh yeah, I've heard of Jim Gaffigan, I've heard of I've heard of Bo Burnham. I've heard of Chris Rock. You know, if you're the kind of person who would get up and heckle someone like that, you're a complete fucking asshole, and you deserve every last thing you get.
Bill Burr dismantling the entire city of Philadelphia comes to mind.
That's a hero.
7 minutes.
Oh, and it wasn't even for his own sake. It was for the comedian that was preceding him.
Yeah.
That was truly heroic.
You want to recap that one for the podcast here for someone who hasn't seen it?
So it was a comedy festival. It was a benefit festival.
That sounds right.
If I remember
In the city of Philadelphia.
And it had been going on all day, and there was like bands.
City of Philadelphia, rest in peace.
Yeah.
You have since been burned to the ground.
Right.
Whatever's left of you.
But yeah, no, it was a benefit. There were like bands before, and then comedians that came up, and all the comedians had like a 15-minute set, right? Yeah. And by that point in the night, everybody in Philadelphia was drunk. It was probably like 3 PM. No one in Philadelphia.
Drinking on Philly time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But no, and they were like the second, like the guy before him, who I can't remember who it was. Might have been Paul Verzi or one of those guys that Bill's really close with. But they were already, by the time Bill got up there, they were just booing for the sake of booing.
Every comic gets slaughtered for no reason.
And he started to go into his set and then just stopped. Like he started his 15 minutes and then just stopped. And he's like, I don't even know what he just said. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You know what I mean?
Right.
And he just goes off and just look. If you do yourselves a favor, look up Bill Burr destroys the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, he just tees off.
Yeah.
For
the whole set.
just shy of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's also an act of comic genius because by the end of this thing, he's got 3/4 of the crowd at least on his side.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing is you've got people whooping and hollering and laughing their asses off.
He is trashing all of their teams, all of their sports heroes.
Rocky.
He trashes Rocky at some point.
You should watch this tonight.
And then the was it like Patrice O'Neal among others?
Yeah,
right?
Patrice is in the back trying to give him ammo. He's yelling on
it's
stage.
like people like coming around the curtain to say this.
He recently said on his podcast, he had Nia on, and Nia was like, I just remember you calling me like, yeah, I got in an argument with 10,000 people. Like, he had this big headache. He's like, I don't know what happened. I just got in an argument with 10,000 people.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that to me, that's like mastery.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, that is the
That's
upper
legendary.
level of being a comic where you can take that many people who are that unhappy and turn them in.
Yeah.
And it's basically like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Right?
not only did he not destroy his career, he got, again, most of the audience on his side.
Everyone in and outside Philly going, oh, fuck. This guy's got it. That's so amazing to me.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to deal with it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thinking of Carlin and Bill Hicks just kind of like not letting the other person talk, just kind of like letting him have it.
Yeah.
Like what Carlin's big response is like, just someone put a dick in that guy's mouth because that's what he wants. You know what I mean? Fuck you if you fuck your mom, fuck your dad, fuck your wife, and if you got kids, I hope your fucking kids die in a car fire. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god, that's like such pulling the ripcord.
Yeah.
That's like no, all stops.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah.
I can't imagine ever having the Stones to be that cruel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, everybody owes it to themselves to watch a bunch of angry comic takedowns. I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go take a little pee.
Oh, now there was something you were talking about your mom standing up to a guy gosh,
You got another one? Another one like that?
I had another one just like that.
Yeah.
And now it's fucking escaping me, and when I remember it, I'm gonna be so goddamn angry with myself.
I think one of the things that now this might not be how a lot of people see the world because most people are relatively normal, but I find every act of absurdity or silliness to be a small rebellion.
Sure.
And there are
How else do you explain all the fucking weird memes that are out there? It's neo-Dadaism.
it kind of is, yeah. Memes are like they're like a reaction to a very bleak and unfunny world.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, memes were just like, advice dog, and it had a colorful background. It was like, Oh fuck, I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
I can't remember the advice dog memes.
Like, I think, for example, like, I remember and maybe this isn't exactly heroism.
Like good guy Greg. You remember that?
Yeah,
it's just this like this congenial smiling guy smoking a joint.
Yeah.
Is like leaves last beer for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
stuff like that. And then now it's like. When you walk down the street and it's just like a cat in a weird pose.
It's like contrast all that shit with Dat Boy. What has happened? There's not even an attempt at meaning anymore.
No, it's like a cultural Dadaist revival.
It really is. It's embracing absurdity,
railing against the chaos of the universe by again embracing it.
Who is it? I'm sure I cannot remember who said it or exactly what the quote is. Maybe you'll recognize it. Something like in a world that is insane.
Joker.
Madness is. I can't remember. There's something.
Yeah,
there's something to that. I don't know.
When you gaze long into the abyss stares back into you,
and it says, "Oh shit,
here come Dat Boy.
What up?" I think you're right about the Dadaism thing. I think that is a large part of a good way to describe what's happening.
I think when things get bad enough, because Dadaism came out of the First World War, right? When like such a thing was like who could have thought some maniac shit like a world war would ever happen in their lifetime.
Yeah,
and so like.
Rejecting meaning at large was the reaction. It makes sense,
right? It's just like, well, guess sanity is old hat. Better toss that out of the window.
Yeah, like refusing to, because reality is too hard. So let's just reject the idea that anything has to mean anything at all.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yeah, and mine means nothing. What I was thinking about, like back when I used to work at the grocery store, there were little things that we would do to entertain ourselves, and I think they're probably pretty unpleasant to the general public.
I just remember the story I was going to tell, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Like I remember we used to do stuff to make ourselves laugh that maybe isn't heroism. But like we would have a mannequin that was in the store. We'd put his hand down the front of its pants and walk away. Just a mannequin with his hand in his pants. Just like little things like that. Like I feel like that's sometimes doing something that's a little bit perverse and maybe a little gutsy is like it's
Jackass.
Glory. Ram.
Sure, Jackass.
Jackass. Jackass was counterculture for but in a very structured way.
Yeah.
But like what's going on now with memes and like eating Tide Pods and shit, like that's.
Ben, can you hand me those pipe cleaners?
The packet there.
This thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You gonna ream that?
Ream and clean. The Chris Brady story.
That's clean with a K, mind
Does
you.
it actually say ream and clean?
Ream and clean, the original.
Ream is a word that just can't not sound like fucked up to me.
Yeah.
Reaming only is...
Reaming tonguing the asshole, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just jamming something up the asshole, I guess. It only sounds like that to me now. It has perfectly legitimate uses that have nothing to do with that. You remembered your story, though.
Yeah, it was when Aubrey and I were at Red Lobster, the Red Lobster in Boardman.
And seafood from Colorado's many oceans.
Red Lobster.
Nobody knows what that is.
Right.
Nobody knows what that is.
So we were there. We were I think partway through our main course.
Yeah.
They always bring the sides out first to make it feel like it's a fancy, classy thing.
Yeah, just before bringing an entire bucket of butter to place between you.
Right.
So you remember where you are.
It's like, here's your first course, a salad. Here's the main course, a bucket of shrimp.
Yeah, right. It's the main course, and it's just deep fried sea spiders.
It's a giant sea spider and a big sea cockroach.
Yeah, right.
And there's little sea dust mites as well. We fried them in butter.
They used to be sea friends. You might have recognized this sea cockroach when you walked in the door.
He was the one with his hands bound.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We C imprisoned him, and then C separated him from his family.
And then C boiled him alive.
But don't worry, he was a C asshole. So anyway,
He didn't pay his C child support.
He never seen it coming.
he didn't put up the clams. So anyway, we're there. We're eating our main course.
Yeah, right.
We're like halfway through, and at the booth next to us, the servers. There's like 3 servers clearing the whole thing off.
Can you not?
Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
There's like 3 servers clearing the whole thing off, and this is the booth that's like right next to the kitchen door. It's a very particular position. It's like in a corner. It's right next to the kitchen door, and so what happens next is 2 women and a man come in, and this man is very clearly profoundly autistic.
Okay.
And it's this booth. It's gotta be this booth,
Right.
that he's gotta sit at. The one woman is his mother. The other is like his caretaker or his county advocate or some such. And the staff at this Boardman Red Lobster.
Yeah.
Again, shout out this specific Boardman Red Lobster.
All those people are good.
In Tiffany Square.
They're very good.
They were fan fucking tastic to this man.
Yeah.
They all of them were just super considerate,
Yeah.
and accommodating. And I as Aubrey and I were eating, I was like just out of the corner of my eye, just like seeing all this go on.
Yeah.
They were just super accommodating. Yeah, and again, yeah, I haven't had ever a subpar server at that Red Lobster.
Big shout out to Boardman Red Lobster.
They're always good.
Let me
make
just
you
say
feel
this.
real
Big shout out
nice.
to Red Lobster in general. They have, for like the past 3 years, been at the top of Forbes rising companies to work for.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, they pay their servers a living wage that's not just the standard tipped wage.
Yeah.
They get holiday
is
pay.
awesome.
Yeah, they like really take care of those people.
They didn't just rest on them Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Right, and then let's also be honest. Red Lobster is super fucking clean and always good. I've
always
never
good.
had a bad meal at Red Lobster.
No,
ever.
their
fucking
food,
good.
Their
Right.
food
Make
is
fun of them
always
if you want.
just
Perfect. It's
just-
good. You can go to Youngstown Crab Company and spend twice as much for the same meal.
I mean, you guys know me. I love my seafood.
God, me too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend some seafood in my recommendations at the end of this
Ooh,
episode.
very nice.
But you guys know me. I love my seafood. Whether it's shrimp, crab, lobster, fish, swordfish, shark,
Human.
tilapia. Yeah,
People that fell into the ocean.
swimming human. Yeah, yeah.
Dogs thrown overboard.
Waterlogged corpses. Yeah.
Plane crash corpses dragged up from the bottom. Of the
Titanic non-survivors. Even just
pickled.
just straight up crushed barnacle seasoning. Like, fuck it, man. I'll eat it. I love seafood.
Rotting
a wet-
whale carcass
I am-
fished up from the depths.
A gross wet bowl of seaweed.
I am goddamn crazy about seafood. Is my point.
Yeah.
And I've been to a lot of restaurants. I eat out a lot.
Ayo.
In every sense of the word.
Ayo.
And trust me when I say Red Lobster's quality,
Yeah.
their seafood quality, it just gets you there. You know, it really just gets you in the mood for just the bounty of the ocean.
Yeah. When I like to order something truly sad called the Admiral's Feast.
Oh, that's not sad. That's incredible.
I've had the Admiral's Feast.
No, it's embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. That's what I get every time I go in
so
there.
fucking good.
Are you saying that I'm embarrassing?
No, I'm saying I'm ashamed to put as much fried buttered seafood into my face as that dish contains.
See, I've had it. I've had it once. I've had it once, and it was one of those rare occasions where it was the exact right amount of food for me.
Yeah.
I hadn't eaten since like the previous day at lunch.
Oh boy.
And I got there and I'm like, you know what? I can't decide on any one kind of seafood. I'm gonna get everything, and it was absolutely worth it. I didn't feel like I had glutted myself.
Oh my God, I'm like losing my mind thinking about this. I've been on a diet for like a week and a half.
Oh my
all
God.
I want. It's all I want.
The
dude,
the
it's
Admiral's Feast, bro.
Dude,
Yeah.
We should go.
I've been saying, we gotta go treat ourselves. When we got money, we gotta treat ourselves to some seafood, eh?
Thursday's my cheat day. Let's make it happen.
Do we want to go on Thursday? Do we want to go on
Thursday is my cheat day. I want
Are you
lobster.
free on Thursday, Chris?
I'm checking. I think I close on Thursday.
No.
Damn.
All right. God damn it. That's all right. Maybe a Friday even.
Push your cheat day back.
Yeah, we do Friday. Just switch the day. It's all the same.
Yeah, we'll
I get out at 7 on Friday. I could just meet you after work.
Oh, this is gotta be good radio.
I also
planning dinner.
I
Live.
drive a client home, but he gets home by like 7:20, so I can be there.
Oh, guys.
I can be at Red Lobster, man.
Oh, guys.
Are we gonna do Red Lobster this Friday?
Let's consider it a plan.
All right. Yeah, I get out at 7. Just remind me, and I'll just drive right over after work. I'll put sweatpants on.
Yeah, man.
And I'll eat the Admiral's
Changing into my
Feast.
fat pants at work.
Oh my god.
No shame.
Oh, we gotta get all the margaritas and all the trimmings. We're gonna treat ourselves, man. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
Excuse me, miss. Can I get a tray of Cheddar Bay biscuits for myself? Oh, well, yes, you can. It's only an extra $1.99. Oh, good.
Is that a thing you can do?
I think so.
I want a tray of cheddar. I just want a whole extra tray of them.
They sell the mix at the store.
It's never the same, right?
It's not, but I'm just saying.
Oh my god. Okay, this is enough about food for a minute.
So anywho,
Yeah. So they took care of this guy. They like really did the up to the nines.
they really they went the extra mile for him.
Yeah.
They really did.
That's really nice.
I was really happy to see.
Did he get
that.
the booth he wanted?
Oh, absolutely.
That's nice.
Absolutely. A family had just finished eating there. They cleaned it up. They got it all spick and span, and they that was where they got them.
I'm trying to think. There's another thing I think is kind of heroic, and I can't think of any good examples right now. But I think voicing an unpopular opinion, like especially like a particularly unpopular opinion that's just like what's right, is an act of bravery.
Yeah, like Hitler did nothing wrong.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Can't even say that with a straight face.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think there are times where it is a really brave thing to say the thing that that is true that most people don't want to believe. I don't know, like I don't want to get real like into like atheist stuff, but I feel like it's like I don't believe in God, and I think that's a hard thing to talk to people about. And I think every time I do, I'm a little bit proud of myself.
I can't bring myself to believe in God. I can sure bring myself to believe that there are things in this universe that I don't understand and can't possibly understand.
Right.
Do I necessarily think that man was created out of dirt and then a rib was torn out of him and bam, it's a woman? No, I don't think that's true.
And I think a lot of religious people don't actually believe that literally.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest interpretations I've ever heard was of the story of Jesus taking the loaves of bread and the fish to feed a crowd of people, being explained as the miracle wasn't that he somehow magically multiplied the food. The miracle was that he got everyone to share. Which
that's kinda nice.
I like that interpretation a lot more.
Yeah, actually,
It fits a lot more with the Jesus thing, frankly.
Yeah, it does. That's nice. I don't know. I just think that there's probably more examples of this, and they're not coming to my mind right now. And I feel like I can feel this topic reaching its natural end here in a minute. But I think every person acting conscientiously or speaking conscientiously, especially when it's not
sure,
easy.
Unpopular opinions. Maybe this is a good space to voice my unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
I don't support the troops.
Wow.
I don't support the troops for the war that we're fighting right now.
Well, I mean,
I can't support troops that are fighting for a war that I don't agree with. That's hypocritical.
I'm glad you brought this up.
I can't. If I don't support the war, I can't logically support the troops that are fighting it.
I don't know about that.
I hope they all come home safe.
Yeah.
I hope that them get killed. Of course, I hope nobody on either side gets killed. I hope for complete peace. That's not practical, of course. So of course, I hope that the people that are close to us, the average everyday American, come home safe and sound. Right. Well, but I can't support their mission.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. That's the distinction, and I think you can support troops without supporting the mission. I really,
I support their health. I don't support what they do. I don't support the choices they've made.
I don't support this blind notion that we have to support. We have to. Oh, our military everybody's heroes. All right. Well, what about like the guys who like didn't? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
What about the people who are in places where all they ever know is like Americans bombing the shit out of them?
Yeah.
And then those people, people from where they're sitting, the heroic thing for them to do is to fight the force that is,
I'm glad you brought this up because there's no way to put this gently, but I understand what you're saying, and I feel it too. I don't support this blind, stupid patriotism. Yeah. Like this.
No, absolutely not. There's been talk about a military parade
that scares the shit out of me. That scares the shit out of me.
For all the shit talking Trump does about North Korea, and that's exactly the sort of thing North Korea does is military parades.
Yeah, right.
Like
shows of strength.
How is that not totalitarian? How is that not like despotism?
Yeah.
How is that not like a fucking military warship cult?
Yeah.
Well,
I think if I remember correctly, the last time such a public display of like a military parade like this happened was during Reagan's time, and before that it was Kennedy's. Yeah, they don't happen that often. We don't generally look at those as a good thing to do. They're propagandistic in nature. Yeah, and a little bit sort of provocational.
The thing is, military action is a product of what politically is going on at the time. And if politically the wars we're fighting are something I disagree with, then no, I don't support the military. I don't support what the troops do. Mm-hmm. I absolutely would support.
It's hard to talk about.
Focus on the veterans. Yeah. If someone gives up their body and their soul to fight for the country and the government doesn't fucking take care of them, that's an injustice.
I agree. Yeah.
That is an absolute injustice.
I'm very glad you brought that up because it's like, it's something that's very hard to talk about, and that's something that I haven't been able to put into words, but I agree with you. I don't support this blind following of like, you know what I mean?
Everyone who's out there, everyone who's putting their life on the line, of course I want you to come home safe. Sure. Of course I do. And I wouldn't wish death on anyone.
I'll go this far too. I think you should get 10% off at Perkins. I think everyone who serves in the military should get a discount wherever they go. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Not everyone would undergo a year plus of being shouted at by an angry old man.
Right.
And then go out and risk being shot at and or bombed and or cleaning toilets.
It is an extraordinarily brave thing to do.
Years and years of their life. It's an incredibly brave thing to do. I don't agree with the reasons for doing it. Currently. I don't agree with the reasons for doing it.
Well, then the last one I would have agreed with would have been World War II, I think.
I don't know. Like okay, so after 9/11 happened and we committed a whole bunch of people to trying to find Osama bin Laden, I think that was a good idea.
That was a great idea. Sure. Sending people to storm Afghanistan and find Osama bin Laden. And Taliban wouldn't turn him over.
And if we had been about 7-8 years older when that happened,
we would have.
There's a half decent chance we would have been the people who went, no, fuck this.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but. We didn't. Mm-hmm. For some reasons that had to do with our decision, and it had to do others that had to do with circumstance.
I mean,
and I do think that is a very noble and brave thing to do. And here we talk about unpopular opinions. I don't know. Like, I just think even if the mission isn't necessarily a good one, it's something, it deserves a lot of respect.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the other thing. When you sign up, you don't choose the mission.
Right.
You gotta do it, whether you like it or not.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how to quantify it. There's no good way to say it other than I don't support. There's no good way to say it other than I don't support the troops.
Yeah.
There's no good way to, but even if that's not what you,
Yeah, because that's not what you mean.
But
that's actually not what you mean.
but
In an ideal world, I would like people not to shoot at each other at all.
exactly, yeah.
That comes down to a very base question at the root of it, and it's actually the part that is the most tricky. Is there ever a time where that kind of mass scale of violence is called for? And I think we see historically there are.
It's thousands of years old. The philosophical question: is there a just war?
Yeah.
I don't know that 3 assholes from Youngstown are qualified to answer that.
Right.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
I just think it's scary to have this. What's the word I'm looking for?
Jingoistic.
It's this blind faith in.
Jingoistic.
Yeah. It's just. I don't know. I think support for support's sake is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
Look at Vietnam. You don't support the effort if you believe the cause is wrong.
Right.
You know? It's
Now, do I think that when those guys came home, there should have been fucking losers with flowers around their hair calling them baby killers?
a lot of those guys
not.
weren't there by choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And then too, you know, some of these guys are, you know, this is a lifelong commitment. You might sign up for one cause and then the cause changes with the times. You
Take
know?
the word troops out of it and say I support human life. I don't support the cause. If you take the word troops out of this argument becomes a lot easier to swallow for I think a lot of people.
Of course I want
Exactly.
fellow Americans to come home safe and sound.
Yeah.
I don't want them to fight for a war I don't agree with, though.
Yeah.
If I could convince them out of fighting a dumb, nonsensical war, then of course I would.
Yeah.
And the blind patriotism that's what leads to like a totalitarian, you know what I mean? Like
People
totalitarian.
don't think for themselves enough.
Right, exactly.
Military worship.
And this goes for everybody. People don't think for themselves enough. People commit to doing some really brave and some very scary stuff because they feel like they're supposed to. And you know, that is I will say an act of heroism.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. We get ourselves into some fucked up situations that we shouldn't.
Let me say this: if we weren't in Iraq, I would have joined the Marine Corps.
You think?
I know I would have. If we weren't in Iraq when I was 18, I would have joined the Marine Corps. I know that for a fact. That's the only thing that stopped me from doing that.
I like playing Counter-Strike too much. I wouldn't have been able to.
I didn't believe in the Iraq War. I believed in
with any sense did.
I believed in fighting Osama bin Laden like the whole country did. I didn't believe in the Iraq War, and I wasn't going to go over there and get my arm blown off. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I would have signed up if you take that whole Cheney in front of the UN thing out of it. I would have signed up. Yeah. Absolutely.
Talk about unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
That's really that one's hard to even wrap the mouth around.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to. I'm glad you brought it. I'm very glad you brought it up because I have the same opinion.
Unpopular opinions. Yeah. How about one last thing to bring it up?
Yeah.
Heroes who swoop in and save the day. How about our second black president?
Our second black president.
Well, yeah, the first is Bill Clinton, obviously.
That's right.
Yeah, that's canon at this point.
Yeah. No, our first black president, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the day when he got elected. I went into Kokali and was getting money out of the ATM, and some dude just started striding through that big lobby shouting, "Obama!"
That's awesome.
Just
that meant a lot to a lot of people.
It meant so much. I remember I was hitching a ride with my dad onto campus and just hearing Obama's address on the radio and thinking, we have a president that can speak English.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is a thing that meant so much and continues to mean so much to so many people, myself included.
There are plenty of legit criticisms against Barack Obama. There should be legitimate criticisms against any president. That's our right. We have to criticize our government. If we don't, then that's
then we're the UK.
you got it. You use it or you lose it. Right.
Speaking of criticisms, though, let's take this back one more. I think expressing this, there's a lot of unpopular opinions I do not agree with.
Yeah.
My opinions tend to be the popular ones on certain issues, but maybe not on others.
Right.
Is it brave? And even on some level, personally heroic to express a gross opinion that is probably wrong, but you really believe it and you're going to get punished socially for expressing it?
There's a thin line between brave and foolhardy. I mean, every D&D campaign teaches us that. Yeah. But it's
define brave.
I don't know.
That's the question.
Like
because to the people that also believe that person's a martyr.
Yeah.
To the rest of the world, it's horrific. But define brave. You can't. I mean, you can't.
Flat Earth.
That's a human concept.
Is it brave to say that the Earth is flat?
Okay, so that's a perfect example. This is now I'm taking this into like I don't even know if I can defend it territory, but like flat Earth is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Okay. People think that their reality has been made up and manipulated.
Let me try to defend it.
Okay.
Have you ever been to a NASA installation? No. Have you ever been to outer space? No. Have either of you?
Yeah,
no.
Right. No, I know where you're going with this. There's so much I have never seen on my own. I can't possibly. Sure. How could I believe it? I've never seen it.
You trust NASA based on the authority that it is NASA. And that it is named the premier authority on aeronautics and space.
Right. Yeah.
I think the answer to that
that's a tough thing to answer to, except for the fact that there are videos of things being launched into space.
Right. I think the answer to that is yes, it's brave from a certain point of view, but bravery is a human construct and it is what we make it.
Brave is not necessarily heroic.
Correct. There you go.
I think it's something to think about.
I think it's the fact that if we based things like GPS on a flat Earth model, they wouldn't work.
Yeah, right.
But the fact that we base them on a spherical Earth model, they do work.
Yeah.
Therefore, I just think that it just tends towards one idea versus the other.
It just might be a little food for thought as we wrap up. I think this is the wrapping up point for this topic. A little food for thought that
this got heavy.
It kind of did. It kind of did. But it's just it seems like more and more people acting on conscience and doing when you see something that you feel needs done or expressed, to do it is your obligation. It's part of your role as a citizen.
Right.
It's part of your role as a human being in America or wherever you are to act with conscience, whatever that means to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes that will mean doing something moral, and sometimes it will mean doing something immoral, probably. Right. Because people act on conviction from all sides of everything. Right?
Yeah.
But it's
I can what's said, I can challenge that too.
You think?
If you act on conscience and conviction, what if it comes to standing up for your government, standing up against your government, when what that means is standing up for your family? Do you want to defy your family in defense of your government?
That's where it comes to the individual. I think. What's the sum of everything? How does it work out on paper?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta imagine what people in France and people in Denmark went through in World War II, and the Nazis were sweeping through, and it's like do you stay loyal to your family or do you stay loyal to whoever's in power?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's worse? Is your self-punishment going to be worse than the punishment you're going to get from your government?
Yeah.
It's fuck people in power. We're Americans. We have the right to say this. Eat the rich.
Yeah. Eat the rich.
Eat the rich.
With a side of catsup.
Yeah. Catsup. And a side of Grey Poupon.
We got some Grey Poupon.
That's right.
Well, we got
right over here.
We got mustard. Let's go find a rich guy.
That's that Grey Poupon, that Avion, that TED Talk.
Mustard goes best, I think, personally, with light meats. So we gotta go for the whitest rich people we know.
I don't know. I think all human is probably white meat. All human. I don't know.
We're gamey, I've heard.
Really?
Yeah, real stringy,
Yeah.
tough.
Well,
A lot of muscle.
It's worked a lot.
It probably depends on the human. I don't.
Sure.
I can't imagine Donald Trump being gamey.
No, real
if you,
fatty.
If you were to eat Donald Trump,
Yes, Ben, if you were to eat Donald Trump.
he'd probably be artificial cheese flavored, like the weird orange American cheese. You know,
Yeah.
Kraft Singles flavored.
Yeah.
Cheetos flavored.
Yeah.
That's
I love
that's
Kraft Singles.
that's what Donald Trump would task like. I think.
Yeah. I love you, Donnie. All right.
All right, let's wrap this topic up here on our inconcludable ending here, and let's move on. So we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back with the closing for this episode.
Heckin' A.
Stick around. And we're back.
Hey, everybody. Oh, my God.
Johnny.
Oh man, someone right now is freaking out. That sound just freaked someone out.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Oh god. You all right? Wrong hole. Oh Jesus.
It's all right. It's all right. It's just Jack Nicholson ASMR.
Old wrong hole Brady. Oops. I'm sorry. Can't do.
Oh my god.
All right.
How's your short game?
So it is the end of the episode here, but before
Yes.
we wrap up, we are going to talk recommendations for this week. And since you mentioned that you might recommend something earlier, I thought we should start with Chris.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
All right. You have 3 albums to pick from this week. Do you want to hear
3.
a 90s ska punk live album? I know it's awfully specific.
Yeah.
Is it Goldfinger?
No, it is not. It is not Goldfinger.
Rats.
A 90s hardcore rap album that came from the same place that Nas came from.
Okay.
Or do you want to hear a 70s classic rock staple album?
Classic rock.
Yeah.
70s
You
classic
wanna go
rock
classic
staple.
rock?
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
so
hear it.
I just recently listened to Face the Music, ELO.
oh yeah, oh dude, ELO is a great. What a cool band.
Is there any better intro track than Fire on High?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Yeah.
It's simultaneously, it brings you into like this deep anxiety, and then it just
ELO is fucking cool, man. That's a cool band.
Will it be cock rock?
I guess kind of.
warrants.
How much cock will be involved in this rock?
A mild amount of cock.
Mild amount?
A
Okay.
mild amount of cock.
Are we talking the Who?
No. The band in question is a band that not a lot of people know. I guess you might not know the name of the band, but you've definitely heard music by them.
Okay.
The band's called Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, son.
Featuring the lead
I'm just itchy.
the lead vocals and the bass guitar work of the Irish Jimi Hendrix, Phil Lynott.
I feel like I know what album this is gonna be.
It's gonna be Jailbreak. It's gonna be fucking Jailbreak because that's the most accessible Thin Lizzy record.
Okay.
And that is a fucking cool album.
I don't know. Live and Dangerous.
Live and Dangerous is
accessible.
I pick this album just because it's got the single versions. Live and Dangerous is one of my favorite live albums ever. It's super good.
Yeah.
Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak.
Yeah. But Jailbreak is like the hit Thin Lizzy record. So it's
Yeah.
got the Boys Are Back in Town. That's the big hit that everybody knows.
Right.
Featuring what I still maintain is the best rock and roll drum track ever committed to wax. It's just a driving 4 on the floor. Just like you could isolate the drum track to that song, and it's just it's perfect. It brings the rest of the music forward and keeps it marching.
Yeah.
Cowboy Song is one of my favorite songs ever. God, Jailbreak itself. That's a really cool one. It's like this little, they 2.5 step down, kind of like in the style of Hendrix. And Thin Lizzy's one of those bands that knows how to rock.
Okay.
And if you want to rock, the first lesson you should know, kids, if you're going to pick up the guitar, is just lean on F sharp because it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And Thin Lizzy does that, like a lot of that.
Nice.
A lot of F sharps, a lot of E majors.
You know what's great about F sharp too is it's part of the D key, so it leads right into
Exactly.
like the majors like G A and then ultimately D when you can like really just blow
it out,
everything
right?
up.
Yeah. So like, if you don't know what F sharp sounds like, listen to the main riff of Foxy Lady. That's F sharp.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak.
It's a bit more minor than B minor.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this. It sounds like rock and roll. It sounds like rock.
That's F sharp.
But that's a really cool like classic rock album that you probably have never heard in your life. It's really good. It's got a lot of really recognizable big rock arena sounding riffs.
But does it have Massacre?
A Massacre was on Johnny the Fox and Jimmy the Weed,
Okay.
which is another really good album. I think that was the one before Jailbreak. In
They do a
75.
live version on Live and Dangerous, but I want to know if it was on.
Yeah, that's on Johnny the Fox and Jimmy the Weed, I believe.
Yeah.
Jailbreak's really cool. It's got a real it's like a Kiss-esque super 70s album where they're all like bursting out of a bank. It looks like they're, you know what I mean? Like, it's really cool.
Nice.
But that's a cool one. Yeah, check that out. Listen specifically to the drum track on The Boys Are Back in Town really closely because it just keeps the song going. It's really good.
It does. Nice. It does break my heart that St. Patrick's Day is going to be next month.
Yeah.
Morty. St. Patrick's Day is going to be next month, and it kind of breaks my heart that like whenever people play Irish music in the bars, it's always Dropkick Murphys or Flogging Molly, which are both good bands in their own right, but nobody ever considers Thin Lizzy.
Yeah. Nobody knows anything about Thin Lizzy. Unless you're a Thin Lizzy fan, you know nothing about Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe Thin Lizzy is that when Thin Lizzy was on tour in Europe in the like 77, 78, their lead singer and their bass guitarist, Phil Lynott, who has a giant Rocky-esque 30-foot statue in Dublin Square made entirely of bronze.
Oh my God.
With his bass and his big leather jacket. They had to cancel 3 weeks of tour dates because Phil Lynott got a case of the clap so bad that he needed bed rest.
Show canceled due to dick rot.
Yeah, you can just get a shot in your dick and it's fixed.
Yeah,
not this case. This case was so bad that he had to cancel 3 weeks of tour dates on bed rest.
That's how you know you really. That's how you know you fuck.
That's rock and roll.
That guy fucks.
So yeah, that's Thin Lizzy. Check out that album, really good. Everybody will like that. It's basic rock and roll.
I'm just sitting here thinking, how much do you have to fuck that your dick is falling off and you can't?
Anybody in the crowd have a little Irish in them?
Would you like any?
Any of the girls want a little more?
Do us all a favor this St. Patrick's Day, and if you're at a bar where they got an AMI jukebox, put a shitload of Thin Lizzy in there.
Yeah,
nice. That's Irish music.
That's Irish music, motherfucker. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
What's funny is in my head I was picturing like what to me felt like something to play for St. Patrick's, and I got the country wrong. Yeah. I was thinking how silly it would be. Just be running around with the Proclaimers. 500 miles. It's not even Irish.
Wrong island. Wrong island, boyo.
Idiot.
And I would walk 500 miles.
Yeah. Ben, what do you got for us?
I've got 2 recommendations.
Okay.
My first is one that I ate earlier at Barry Dingle's.
The Dingle chips.
I recommend
the Dingle chips. A week ago was Ash Wednesday, which means Lent has begun.
Yeah.
And that means Barry Dingles has their fucking seafood Lent specials.
Oh, hell yeah.
The one good thing about Catholicism.
You know that
Literally the only thing.
So they got some good staples. They got the crab meat stuffed haddock. They got the
every part of that sentence made me come.
they got the
Excuse me, I have to go clean myself up while you talk more about seafood.
they got the swordfish. But now they've got, and I shit you not, macadamia crusted mahi mahi with a coconut dressing.
Sweet God. Oh my God.
I swear to God,
That's the sexiest thing
get
you've
it.
ever said to me.
I had this with the vegetable medley and the seasoned fries. This might have been one of the best seafood dishes I've ever had. Oh it's literally just a coconut cream sauce on top of grilled mahi mahi, and then just crushed macadamia nuts on top of it. It is fucking divine.
That sounds really good.
I'm recommending it to you guys so that maybe we can go one of these days and get some mahi mahi.
Dave, you're freaking out. The thing is, that's not that bad of a meal.
No, it's all the
nuts are there.
Yeah, exactly. Encrusting it and you know.
It's okay. It's okay. There's 34 days of Lent left. We got this.
There's like 90 days of layered diet left.
No, don't worry. I mean, like, of all the things you could possibly eat, mahi mahi is like, you know. You're not talking about a lot of like fat or carbs or anything in here.
Yeah.
The coconut dressing is very thin. It's almost like a glaze. And then the macadamias are, you know, they're macadamia nuts. It's just full of protein.
Oh
it's just pure protein, and it's so fucking delicious.
Sounds incredible.
You got to get it. I just had it scant hours ago, and it's
scant hours
ago.
But a few hours ago.
And it is fantastic.
God, that sounds good.
My other recommendation: go see Black Panther.
People are screaming about this movie.
Now they're not screaming for no reason. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why.
and let me tell you why. So,
James.
now I'll tell you this. Black Panther is very light on action.
Yeah.
Compared to what you would expect from a superhero movie. When it does do the action in typical Marvel fashion, it goes balls out and it goes in directions you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, it really does, you know, what you would expect a person to do with the powers that they have. My standard complaint about Green Lantern, he's a DC hero, not a Marvel hero, of course.
Yeah.
My standard complaint about Green Lantern is like, I could imagine a million better things for this situation than what Green Lantern is. Oh, a giant fist? How fucking original. What about, there's like, you don't give the fucking Green Lantern ring to someone who can't use his fucking imagination. And it comes up like, oh, here's a giant sledgehammer to pound you in, here's a fucking giant net.
Yeah.
It's
a little bit lame.
Yeah, Marvel has this really good track record in their cinematic universe of having their heroes and their villains use their powers in ways that make sense to the viewer.
Yeah.
Ways that a person would be like, oh, I could have come up with something better. Common sense approaches to superpowers, I guess, is what I'm getting at. There's a scene in Civil War where a bad guy from Winter Soldier shows up again. It's close to the beginning of the movie. It's not like
I gotta see that still.
I'm like so far behind on. I haven't watched any of the Marvels.
Well, there's the whole Captain America Iron Man arc is majestic.
Yeah,
it's cinematic brilliance. No one will ever do a superhero movie better than like the Avengers franchise, honestly.
Yeah.
And I say that stacking that up against Dark Knight. Like,
yeah, right.
Like everyone goes nuts over Heath Ledger as the Joker, and he was fantastic. He made that movie. It was, it will undoubtedly go down as one of the best superhero movies of all time. But the collective story arc between all the Avengers movies and everything is just masterful. This dude has a like a suicide vest, and Captain America's getting up and ready to punch him, and then he realizes like this dude has a bomb.
Yeah.
So Scarlet Witch, like right as soon as he presses the button, she contains the explosion with telekinesis, lifts him up, and then when he's only when he's like 50 feet in the air,
nice,
lets the explosion go.
That's pretty sweet.
So it's very like shit that the audience would think of normally. Okay. And Black Panther does that very well in its action sequences and all of that. But most of the movie, most of Black Panther is very gracefully handled social commentary.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I mean, it's got to be part of the movie, like the fact that like we have like a black superhero of like a fictional African nation in like a time like now. There's got to be social commentary that's like
there are
relevant.
There are two characters in the whole movie that are white. One is Martin Freeman, so you can imagine the kind of ally he is. He's Martin Freeman.
He's a Martin Freeman type.
He's a Martin Freeman type. He's
a real Martin Freeman type. That Martin Freeman.
He's a dorky white guy. Yeah. And then the other one is Andy Serkis. He's the bad white guy.
Oh, okay.
What a bad guy.
The main villain of the movie is
I'm here to be a bad guy.
Does he talk like that?
I'm the bad guy.
He does put on a big Cockney accent.
Oh, I'm the big white guy.
I'm the big he
I'm
does.
Bad. I'm a bad white guy. I'm a big white guy.
You can tell he's bad because he's missing an appendage.
They took my arm off.
It's his arm. In fact, his left arm is his left arm is a robot cannon.
He lost his arm throwing a child into a wheat thresher.
Oh no, they took my arm off. I'm a big bad white guy.
Big guy.
I hate Africa now. Big bad white guy. Look at my big cannon arm.
So I'll spoil this for you right now. He's not the real bad guy.
Oh, I'm not the real bad guy.
I was just a pretend bad guy. I'm not the real bad guy.
If you watch the trailers, the actual bad guy is also black.
Okay.
This is the real bad guy.
And they.
No, it's an
Sorry, this is so stupid. I'm sorry. It's the real bad guy over there.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
Don't even look at me. I'm not the bad guy.
So anywho,
sorry. I just feel like I just need to laugh right now. Oh my god.
I get it. I get it.
God.
But no, Black Panther in how it handles what I think everyone going to see this movie will know is the obvious social commentary that it wants to address. Mm-hmm. It handles it with every amount of grace that you could imagine. It handles it in a very graceful and very beautiful way. It's a very I was talking with some people afterwards. Aubrey was using the restroom, and I was talking with some people outside after the movie. It's incredibly smart. It's a very, very smart movie.
Yeah.
It says exactly what it wants to say, and I think what people need to hear.
Nice.
It does a very good job of again setting out to say what it needs to say, and that I think that's been my metric of what makes a good movie is if the movie sets out to say and do what it wants to say and do.
Okay.
And Black Panther definitely does that.
I hear the soundtrack's incredible too. I mean, that's the other thing. The soundtrack
it's
is
Kendrick,
through
right?
It's Kendrick. It's all Kendrick.
Like people are buying it like crazy. It's setting records just for the soundtrack alone.
Yeah, the soundtrack is fantastic. The casting is wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course with the action sequences, ultimately at the end of the day, yes, superhero movies are there, for the same reason good sci-fi movies are there to shine a mirror on humankind.
Yeah.
So you go to see it partly for that reason. But you also want to see it for the ass kicking.
Yeah.
And when the ass kicking comes up, it's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's what you would expect from a Marvel movie at this point.
Nice.
It does everything right that you would want it to do. And again, at the end of the day, you just got to see it. It's a very smart movie. It knows exactly what it's about. It knows exactly what it's setting out to say.
Yeah.
And it does it with all the grace and style that you would expect a Marvel movie to do.
Yeah.
Go see Black Panther. It's super good.
Yeah. Lots of people are.
Chadwick Boseman is phenomenal.
Chadwick
Boseman, the eponymous Black Panther, King T'Challa.
Nice.
Is fantastic. It picks up after the events of Civil War, in which his father is, spoiler alert, killed in a terrorist attack fairly early on in Civil War. King T'Chaka. So Prince T'Challa inherits the mantle of King of Wakanda, and also the mantle of Black Panther.
Yeah.
The guardian and savior of Wakandan land.
Yeah, I want to see this movie, and I'm pretty sure just about everybody is, which is good news for your recommendation. Is people. It now holds the record for a movie opening in February.
Yeah. February typically a really shitty month for movies.
Yeah.
Like January, February, March.
Right.
Like leading up into like May, the summer blockbusters are when it starts to pick up again.
Well, this was what Aubrey, because it came out 2 days after Valentine's Day. This is what Aubrey wanted for her Valentine's Day gift.
Right.
So we went on Saturday to see Black Panther.
Where'd you go to see it?
We went to see it at the Austin Town. We saw it in 3D.
Nice.
I'm not huge on 3D.
I'm not either. Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, you'll get the same experience seeing it in standard.
I figured, yeah.
You'll get the exact same experience again because in Black Panther the action sequences are few and far between.
Yeah.
When they happen, they're awesome, but it's more everything in between. It's everything between the lines. It's everything between the punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta read between the punches.
Not doing well, Schindler's List in 3D.
Schindler's List in Technicolor.
Look at that 3D snow.
Wait a minute.
That's not snow.
Hold on
at
a second.
all.
Look at that girl in the red dress. Sorry about that.
You can see the trains approaching and leaving.
Oh, look at that. You can see the veins bulging out of Ray Fine's neck.
You can practically see all the people Oscar Schindler could have seen jumping out at you.
That right there. Whoa, two more people.
Oh no!
Oh,
Close
going to hell. Going to hell. Going to hell. All right, Dave. What's your recommendation?
So yeah, eat this macadamia coconut mahi mahi, and also go see Black Panther.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, if you like superhero movies, you owe it to yourself. If you like what superhero movies represent, in terms of society, in terms of justice, you gotta see Black Panther.
Yeah, I'm sure that I will. I'll keep mine quick here. I watched something on Netflix that was recommended, and actually maybe like side recommendation. Watch Red Letter Media's 2017 movie catch up.
Okay.
They did it over the New Year's kind of period. So they talked about a whole bunch of different movies that they watched this year. Some good, some bad.
Yeah. I did. I watched half of the first one. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, and it's a two-parter.
Yeah,
and they talked about a lot of things. And one of their recommendations I ended up watching on Netflix, which is going to be also one of my recommendations. But it's a really fucked up movie, and it's a horror movie called Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game.
I've
Yes.
heard of this before, actually. I don't know why, though.
It's a Netflix original.
You might be thinking of the Pixar short Jerry's Game, which is an old man playing chess with himself. It's adorable.
Oh, really? Is that a thing?
It's a thing. It's really durable, but it's probably not what you're talking about.
Not in the slightest, Fred, because this movie is fucking dark.
Gerald's Game.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original. It's a Stephen King adaptation, right? And the concept of this movie, and this is not a spoiler, this is how the movie begins. It's part
Chris has a big spark of recognition.
My boss recommended this to me a couple months ago.
It's a little bit hard to watch. The concept is a married couple take off for their vacation home, essentially, in a bid to, spice up their marriage a bit. They go away to be alone, have a romantic time, whatever.
In Maine?
Probably. It's a really remote house, and they're like obviously dysfunctional, in particular sexually dysfunctional. They try to like do something, have kind of like a kinky weekend away.
I heard Viagra's good for that.
Yeah, well, Viagra is part of this movie. He puts it in his mouth to give himself a boner. Actually,
that's kind of what Viagra's for.
really?
Yeah.
What if you put it in your penis to give your tongue a boner?
That's weird. All right.
So
That's a weekend for the wife.
So they're away. He brought handcuffs. It's like part of the beginning of the movie. He brings handcuffs, and it's like part of they're gonna do like kind of a like a little bit of a dangerous kind of type thing, And he chains her to the bedposts or whatever, with the handcuffs, and then it starts to get kind of weird. She's not really into it. She tells him to stop, and he does, and they start to argue, and he hasn't unchained her at this point, and boom, heart attack. Yeah. He drops off the bed. He's on the floor. She's cuffed, and she can't get free. And what follows, I will not spoil for you at all.
Yeah.
I bet it's wacky.
I will tell you this: it's not just a movie where a woman sits there trying to figure out how to get off of a bed. It's a lot more.
I know a little bit, and I know that it's really fucked up.
Is it a movie about where a woman tries to get off on a bed?
Not in the slightest.
I know a little bit about, because he didn't spoil too much, but he told me a little snippet of something.
Yeah.
And I know where this goes.
There's some I'm going to tell you this. Don't watch this movie if you're sensitive to some really dark themes.
Yeah.
Because it hits some really uncomfortable shit to watch.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
This is on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
What's it called?
Gerald's Game.
Is this a movie?
It's a movie. It's,
Okay.
Not a long one. It's about an hour and a half or a little more.
I'll watch it when I go home.
It's honestly, it's an uncomfortable movie to watch.
Yeah.
It tackles some very dark themes, and it handles them in ways that you don't necessarily always see in movies, I think.
Sure.
I really don't want to say too much about it. It's got a little bit of a polarizing ending. Some people really don't like the ending. Some people really like the ending.
Usually when it's a polarizing ending, I like it. And
Yeah.
I'm on the end of the spectrum where I like it.
I will say I didn't really care for the ending.
Didn't care for it.
But that's, to each their own. So I would recommend if you have kind of a strong stomach in a way,
Yeah.
you need a strong stomach for this movie.
I
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Right.
But watch Gerald's Game. It's not exactly a horror movie. It's kind of a revulsion movie in a way. It's like horror comes on multiple levels.
Horror.
Horror.
So if you have a strong stomach, watch Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my recommendation. So, boys, what did we learn?
I learned that we found Roger Sickbastard.
Yes, we did.
We actually found him.
He has been spotted. We got his number.
Miracle. I learned that come back to me.
Okay. I wrote casually fuck my asshole, but I don't really remember why.
I wrote in that vein that employees must douche face asshole before returning to work.
Yeah, I just wrote compulsory ass douching.
I learned that sometimes you just gotta call someone out and their shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Oh man, that's how you be a hero. Call bullshit.
That's right.
I wrote buy American if you can find anything like that.
I wrote that sweatshop labor still costs a fuckload of money.
Yeah, it still does. I learned that seafood is just fancy bugs. and I'm okay with that.
It really is. They're just underwater bugs.
Yeah. Ocean bugs.
Ocean bugs, please. Sorry.
Give me lots of hugs.
I also learned that you should
we
keep,
can smoke some nugs.
I learned you should keep your normal Twitter and your porny Twitter separate.
Yes.
Have
for
to.
the love of
Yeah,
God.
you should ideally just
Have a porny Twitter, that's fine, but just, keep them separate.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Separate.
You've got to keep them separated.
yeah. Gotta keep them separated.
That is the funkiest ass 90s lick, incidentally.
It is, it's very good.
Yeah. Funky as fuck.
I also wrote, I'm a big bad guy.
I'm a big bad guy. Yeah. I wrote that all bad white guys have a cockney accent. Oh, I'm a big bad white guy.
Oh, what?
Oh, but I'm not the real bad guy.
The real bad guy's over there.
Yeah.
Real bad guy.
He's the guy who took my
He's
arm.
over there.
He took my arm off. I got a big headed arm. Oh, no.
I'm a big bad guy.
I wrote that the average person is better than you think.
I think so too.
I think that's a good final
Yeah.
thought.
It's a nice one to wrap on.
Where?
As it is.
As
And
it
ever
was.
shall be.
Ideally.
All right. Well, that does it.
Yep.
That's an episode.
That's it. It is.
That's it. You might say.
One might say that that's it.
One might say that's
That's
That's it.
that's it.
That's it.
So, thank you for listening. Come back in another week. We have another episode of
Yep, I got a host.
Yep, Chris's episode. You got to think of a topic, buddy.
Oh God.
You got plenty of time.
I gotta think of a joke.
Yeah, you got to think of a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the Napoleon joke? Where does he keep his armies?
That'll occupy a lot of time.
That'll be good. Yeah.
Ben, you want to tell the joke before we leave?
Okay.
The Chinese. No.
So these three guys are walking on a beach, and one of them trips and they're like, "Ow, my fucking face!" And so he stands up and he's like, "Oh, I tripped over something glittery and shiny." So he digs it up and it's a lamp. And he's like, "Oh, my fucking face doesn't feel so bad anymore now that I know."
It's not the joke I was expecting, but I'm with it.
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rub this lamp, and so he rubs it. He rubs it. He maybe a little too vigorously. Makes his other two friends uncomfortable. So he rubs it. He rubs it, and he's and then a genie comes in. And so the genie comes out, and he's like,
This is a weird joke.
so the genie comes out and he's like, "Don't do that. I run a professional establishment here." And one of the guys says, "What kind of establishment do you run?" He says, "Well, I grant 3 wishes. Obviously, I'm a genie. But there's 3 of you, so I can only grant 1 wish to each of you." And so they're like, "Okay, all right." So guy number 1's like, "Okay, I know exactly what I want. I want the perfect girlfriend. I want her to match me completely. I don't want us to have any arguments. I want us to be perfect for each other. Anytime I see her and anytime she sees me, I want us both to be completely happy." And the genie's like, "Boom! Done."
Okay.
Second guy's like, "All right, I know what I want. I want the intelligence and the wherewithal to make all the money I want in the world. I've read too many fairy tales. I've read too many stories. I know if I wish for infinite wealth, it's gonna backfire on me somehow. So I want the intelligence to make my own money. I want to make my own way in the world." And the genie's like, "All right, done." Mm-hmm. How about you were expecting a big kaboom or something, huh? And so the third guy's like, "All right, I know exactly what I want. I want a big orange spinning head. I want a big orange head that spins all the time." And then she says, "All right, done. I'll return you to your homes. I'll return you to your homes. Your wishes will be granted. Your wishes will be granted when you are returned." So a week later, they all meet up at the bar. The first guy shows up and he's got his beautiful blushing fiance with him, and he says, "This woman is absolutely perfect. We finish each other's sentences. We laugh at each other's jokes. Even all of our weirdness. We're perfect. We're perfectly compatible." And you know, she snuggles up on him, and he's like, I'm so happy. I've never been so happy in my life. And the second guy goes, man, that's amazing. I've gotten what I want too. I've invested wisely. I've started my own company. I've got all the money I could ever want. I've got a great yacht. We could have your wedding on my yacht. I could marry you to. I'm a licensed minister. I could marry you to on my yacht. We could have a great party anywhere you want in the world. Acapulco, Milan, Shanghai, anywhere you want in the world. And so he's like, man, this is the best. I wouldn't trade this life for anything else. I can finally give back to everyone. And the third guy sits there with his head is spinning around. His head is big. His head is orange. It's spinning around. And he says, guys, I think I fucked up.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
That's funny.
Oh my god, that's... All right, I'm sorry. That just broke me. I'm sorry. All right. Wow. All right. That's an episode. So we will see you. Oh my god. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
With another episode of the Dude Cast.
Same 3 dudes time, same 3 dudes channel.
You guys have a great week. See ya later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.